quite honestly, Mike, that I didn't. I'm like you. I didn't even know existed. That we now have some NFL flavor coming into to Nebraska to kind of give us some management, some direction, but brand new positions.
Yeah, I didn't know the program had a general manager. I thought that was the head football coach. Mm-hmm. But we've got a general manager. In fact, Sean Patton had been serving in the role as the general manager for the Nebraska football team. He's going to move on to a new role of assistant AD for strategic intelligence.
What?
Yeah, our current general manager is going to move on to a new role of assistant athletic director for strategic intelligence. Now, if you're dealing with a football team, what the hell is that?
Strategic
would somebody please get into this and tell me what is your job if your job is the assistant AD for strategic intelligence of a football team?
It sounds a lot like Harbaugh could answer that question, right? If the University of Michigan.
I don't know.
It sounds like Spygate, and like you're using satellite imagery to find out if Ohio State's going to come out in a 4-3 or a 3-3-5 this spring. You know, that's strategic intelligence.
So that's what this Sean Patton is going to do. He's going to be replaced by Patrick Stewart, who's been the director of pro personnel for New England. He's had some other jobs with the Eagles and the Carolina Panthers and various roles with the Patriots. He broke in the college ranks. He's an Ohio State grad. Worked with Ohio State, Western Carolina, and Temple. Well, anyway, he's going to be our new general manager while Sean Patton moves into his new role of assistant AD for strategic intelligence. So that's just one of the things going on with the football team. Again, we'll hear from Phil Snow coming up for the first time here today on this show. He's Nebraska's associate head coach that we hired in December of 2024 to help Matt Rule's staff and kind of oversee the program. I don't know what all these guys are going to do, but they've all got jobs and they all got high-paying jobs, and we'll hear from Phil Snow here in just a little bit.
There you go. Also, news this morning that's just breaking if you're waking up and getting going this morning. Gene Hackman and his wife have apparently been found dead in their home in New Mexico. Hackman was 95, cause of death not confirmed, not believed to be foul play. But apparently Hackman, his wife, and their dog all found at around 1:45 during a welfare check yesterday afternoon. And so Hackman 95, certainly I think it would, first thought would be some sort of carbon monoxide or maybe gas leak in the home. But tragic events for the Hackman family and for a lot of Hollywood fame there that got to work with him on stage, whether it was Hoosiers or the many other great movies that he was a part of. But Gene Hackman dead at 95.
Yeah, I heard that initially. Then I heard his wife had died, and that's the first time I've heard that the dog also passed away. So you would think that I'm with you that foul play is not expected, but carbon monoxide poisoning would be a first choice there about what happened with the Hackmans.
But they continue to investigate, so we'll not speculate.
The NFL is considering changing overtime rules in the regular season to decrease the advantage for teams that win the coin toss. Now, remember, we've got two different rules in the NFL as far as overtime is concerned. We have the regular season rule, then we got the postseason rule, which makes no sense to me. Why do we do it one way during the regular season, and when the playoffs come about, we do it another way?
Especially if you're trying to give fans the understanding that every game matters and that you want to tune into regular season. But we need to do it more fair for the playoffs. We have to have more fair so we can make sure that the right team is advancing. I've always been with you. I thought that have never made sense. I have also thought that the whole idea of the coin toss never makes sense when you have a much different system in college that has worked wonders for the overtime game, where everybody does get a possession, and the first team to really kind of slip up, screw up, is the loser. And I think the college overtime works wonders. I would love to see that implemented in the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't know what further steps you can take to realize that this system just isn't working.
I'm with you. I like the college overtime rule better. The NFL rule, the current rules give both teams an opportunity to possess the ball in overtime unless a touchdown is scored on the first possession. So you win the coin toss. We've seen it time in and time out. You win the coin toss. That team goes down, scores a touchdown, game over. That's the way they do it during the regular season. Now, the rules are different in the playoffs. Both teams get a chance to have possession, even if the offense scores a touchdown on the opening drive. That postseason change came after Buffalo lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round playoff game in January of 2022, making the overtime rules the same in the regular season as possible, along with extending the period to 15 minutes. Right now it's 10 minutes. So, yeah, they're making a step, but I'm with you. I like the college overtime rule better. But now the regular season rule and the post-game or the post-season overtime rules could be synced up together. I see doing some research, receiving teams won 56.8% of the games in overtime from 2017 to 2024, up from 55.4% from the period 2001 to 2011. So, yeah, we've seen it time in and time out during the regular season. You win the coin toss in overtime, and if you have a good offense, it goes down and you score a touchdown. Game over. The other team doesn't even get their damn hands on the ball. Now, is that fair?
Right.
So they're going to try to change that, and they're talking about that.
Yeah, is it fair to flip a coin and decide who the better team is through the course of 4 quarters of football and all things are level, and then you flip a coin and that offense gets to drive down? I mean, I've been on the other end of that. I've been on the end of that sinking feeling where it's like, man, we didn't even get our shot. But, you know, on the other flip side of the coin, I mean, the proponents would say, well, your defense had an opportunity. All they had to do was get off the field, blah, 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 blah. Well, just in, the NFL has the best and the brightest and the high-powered offenses, and we'd like to showcase ours a little bit, too, in the OT session. So I just don't understand, like, when you have a system in a lower-tier league, like, if we're structuring this now where college football is kind of the next step to get into professional football, and you're watching a system at the college ranks that works, why are you so stubborn? Get off your ass and make the change. Go to the college game and put it out from 30 yards if you have to.
Oh, they don't want to stoop that low.
But I don't think it's stooping.
I know.
It's
NFL,
improving.
The NFL executives say, oh, we got our own ideas. We're going to do it this way. They're in their glass offices with no touch with the outside world. They're in their glass offices saying, hey, we got the plan right here. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to do what the college guys are doing. Hell no. So you chime in on some of this stuff we're talking about here today. We'd love to chat with you. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330. You can certainly leave us a message on all the social media sites. Tyson is monitoring those in his studios today. In fact, we've got lots of people already in the lobby. Thanks for waking up with us again, Tammy. Thanks for waking up with us. And again, join us on the show here today as we get you up and get you going for this Thursday, kind of sitting down at the breakfast table, so to speak. That's what we do each and every morning to give you the news, weather, and sports, and some friendly chit-chat as we get you off to work or school here this morning. We had Hastings College basketball last night. Probably one of the better games that we've seen all year long. Hastings College was playing Northwestern for the 3rd time this season. Hastings had won the 2 previous games. Back and forth throughout the game last night. Broncos were trailing with about 4.5 minutes to play in the game, and all of a sudden they hit a switch. We went on a 13-0 run. Macy Bryant, who has been quiet for the Broncos in the 2 previous games with Northwestern, all of a sudden she hit a 3-pointer. They get the ball back to her again. She hit another three-pointer. Then she hit another three-pointer. And the Broncos went on a 13-0 run at the end of the ball game last night. They beat Northwestern 81-70. It was a good performance for Bailey Kissinger, the former Hawkette. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists in the ball game. That's after she scored 26 against Northwestern the last time we played them 11 days ago. So now the Broncos have won 10 games in a row. They will move on to play in the semifinals on this Saturday against the nation's number 1 ranked team, Dordt.
All right.
Now the Defenders have 2 losses, and one of those losses was to Hastings.
Mm-hmm.
We beat them a couple of weeks ago at Lynn Farrell Arena. This time we're going to play in Sioux Center, Iowa. It'll be a 2 o'clock start, they tell me, on Saturday. We'll be there. We'll have the game on Extreme Sports beginning at 1:45. But an impressive show last night for the Hastings College women's basketball team. Their season's still alive, and we get to take on the number 1 ranked team in the nation, the Dordt Defenders, on this Saturday afternoon.
And you mentioned this yesterday, and so we'll just kind of reiterate a little bit here. This is pretty much at this point for seeding in the national tournament. We've got a pretty good feeling that both of these teams will be playing in the national tournament.
Yeah, I think 4, maybe 5 teams from the GPAC will get into the national tournament when the selection show is out here next week sometime. 4 or 5 teams. Hastings will be certainly one of the teams. So, yeah, you win a couple of games in the conference tournament, and certainly if we can get to the finals, we're going to improve our seeding and maybe our regional site. So, yeah, we're playing. That's what the postseason is in the NAIA. So, Hastings and Dordt will play on Saturday. The other games, last night, Briar Cliff beat Morningside. Dakota Wesleyan got by Doane. So Briar Cliff will play at Dakota Wesleyan on Saturday in the other semifinal game.
There you go.
So that's what's going on in basketball. Good show, though, last night. Hastings College and Northwestern, a good crowd on hand. Hope you enjoyed it here on Extreme Sports. Yeah. We've got sub-district boys back. This has been a busy week. It just jumps from night to night to night. Tonight we're going to be in Holdridge for the boys sub-district championship game between Adams Central and the Holdridge Dusters. These two teams played back in January, I think it was, mid-January. Holdridge beat Adams Central by 20. So they're going to play for the sub-district championship tonight at 7. We're going to have the game here on Extreme Sports beginning at 6:45 tonight. Both of those teams, if the district championships were held today, both of those teams would advance. Mm-hmm. But just to make sure, the Patriots, I'm sure, want to go out and win the sub-district title. They're going to be basically on the bubble to get into a district championship game next week. I think they're currently sitting in the number 14 spot. So as long as there's not any major upsets tonight in Class C1, the Patriots should be in. But the best way to punch your ticket for the district championship games would be to just win the sub-district title tonight. So we'll go after it tonight with the Dusters beginning at 7, 6:45 pregame show here on Extreme Sports. And St. Cecilia also playing tonight. The Hawks will take on Blue Hill. They've got 2 wins this year. Mm-hmm. And St. Cecilia will play Blue Hill at the Chapman Gym tonight for the sub-district title. That one begins at 6 o'clock, so we'll keep our eyes on St. Cecilia and Blue Hill tonight while we're doing the Adams Central Holdridge game. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on there. But St. Cecilia and Adams Central both playing tonight. Hastings High also playing tonight in the B7 sub-district tournament up in Aurora.
They've got Northwest, right?
Yeah, they got Northwest tonight at 7. Aurora playing York in the first game. York winning last night over Lexington, so it'll be the number 1 seed. The Aurora Huskies taking on York in the first game at 5:30. Hastings High against Northwest at 7. 2 winners will play on Friday nights at 6 o'clock for the sub-district championship there. So Tigers and Northwest playing again tonight.
Ryan Martin has chimed in on the strategic intelligence general manager, probably figuring out how much NIL to pay a transfer or a recruit, keeping tabs on the rest of the college football. Is sort of like a keeping up with the Joneses, right? Well, we see that Alabama and and Ohio State are doing this much, so to stay competitive, we got to kind of and they got to bring that information over to the boosters, and it's a whole different world, man. Like I said, I wouldn't want to coach in college football today.
Well,
Even if I was a sound mind and knew a good offensive strategy, I wouldn't want to be a part of the college game today and try to have to navigate that.
And you're going to hear that from Phil Snow coming up when we get some comments from him. He didn't want to come back and be a so-called assistant football coach at a college football team. He says he's an older guy, and he was at the end of his career, so to speak, coaching-wise. He didn't want to join a team and go out and have to recruit and put up with the NIL stuff and the transfer portal. So he's just going to come back and basically coach and oversee the defense for the Huskers. I think you're right. I think Ryan is right on target with Sean Patton moving into his new role as assistant AD for strategic intelligence. I think he's going to probably oversee the transfer portal and the NIL stuff. I think Ryan is right on target. I think that's probably what his job is, although his title seems... His title, couldn't you come up with a different title than the assistant
It sounds
AD?
like Area 51 clearance is needed, right?
Yeah. It's like we're in a rocket or something, and we need some strategic intelligence to get clearance to blast off or something. But, I think the title is a little strange, but I think Ryan Martin might be right on the money as far as what Sean is going to be doing. So that's just some of the things we're talking about here this morning. Again, lots of people joining us in the lobby today. We'd love to have you join us on the show, 402-834-1330. Whatever is on your mind today, sports-related or not. I know there's a lot of other things going on in the world these days. Might be on your mind here at the breakfast table. Give us a shout. We'll talk about it here on Huddle Up. Leave us a message on one of our social media sites. We're monitoring those as well. So just getting started here on a busy Thursday morning. It is now 7:20 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News update brought to you in part by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where they've been lighting the way to financial success since 1946. Hastings Federal Credit Union, proud to be your trusted long-term financial partner. Committed to providing the highest level of quality services, the Hastings Federal Credit Union provides banking services to all those living or working in Adams, Clay, Webster, Nuckolls, Thayer, and Fillmore counties. And with affordable loan rates, mobile banking, and a friendly staff that treats you like family, why would you go anywhere else? Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. The Nebraska Emergency Management Agency has issued an update last night on the fires burning in Custer County, as crews from over 40 different departments across the state are currently actively battling 3 wildfires in Custer County, with efforts focused on containment and monitoring hotspots at this point. Overall, an estimated 4,125 acres have burned between the 3 active fires. At this time, no evacuations had been issued. However, several individuals in impacted areas have been notified of the situation. State resources have been deployed to assist local fire crews in containment efforts. Due to the ongoing fire activity across the region, the Broken Bow Fallen Fire Department has suspended all burn permits until further notice, and weather conditions continue to pose significant challenges as well. The majority of the state will be under an extreme fire danger coming up tomorrow, raising concerns about potential wildfire restarts and rapid fire spread. Meanwhile, power is out for all of St. Paul this morning. According to the St. Paul Police Facebook page, the post reads, "A critical failure has occurred and caused a fire. Please stay away from the area and let firefighters and linemen do their jobs. We will provide updates as we get them." So power currently out as fire crews work in the electrician area. And then the Nebraska State Patrol, welcoming the public to join in honoring the life and service of Trooper Kyle McCasey, who gave his life in the line of duty 10 days ago. Members of the public invited to observe a procession for Trooper McCasey, family, colleagues, Campmates and supporters will escort Trooper McCasey to a funeral service this morning in Ralston. The public invited to line the procession route and pay their respects to Trooper McCasey. Anyone wishing to view the procession should be in place along the route prior to 9 a.m. The public is also welcome to attend the funeral service, which will begin at 11 a.m. at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Following the procession, Trooper McCasey's cruiser will be parked in front of the arena as a memorial where anyone can leave flowers, notes, or other gifts that will be given to the McCasey family. It is now coming up on 7:24. We'll swing things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's happening in sports?
Well, a lot going on, a lot on the plate here today. As we mentioned, Nebraska hiring New England Patriots Director of Pro Personnel, Patrick Stewart, as the program's new general manager. Stewart will replace Sean Patton, who will move to a new role of Assistant AD for Strategic Intelligence. Stewart has worked in various roles with Ohio State, Western Carolina, and Temple before breaking into the NFL. He's worked with the Eagles, the Panthers, and the Patriots. The Nebraska baseball team will play in the Frisco College Baseball Classic this weekend. Huskers are 3-4 on the season. They'll have games against Sam Houston, LSU, and Kansas State. The softball team will play 5 games in the Wichita State tournament this weekend. Huskers are 12-4. Nebraska will have 2 games against Missouri and single games against San Diego State, Oklahoma State, and Wichita State. Hastings College women's basketball team went on a 13-0 fourth quarter run last night to beat Northwestern 81-70 in the quarterfinals of the GPAC postseason tournament. The run was ignited by 3 3-pointers by junior Macy Bryant, who finished with 12 points. Bailey Kissinger led the way with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Broncos have now won 10 games in a row to improve to 23-6 on the season. They'll play at number 1 ranked Dordt on Saturday in the semifinals. Tip-off of the game will be at 2, and we'll have the action here on Extreme Sports beginning at 1:45. The Defenders beat Concordia last night 80-66. In the other games, Briar Cliff defeated Morningside 89-52, and Dakota Wesleyan got by Doane 79-71. On the men's side, Dordt defeated Mount Marty 76-59. Morningside beat Dakota Wesleyan 91-74. Northwestern ran past Briar Cliff 83-65, and Concordia outscored Midland 101-81. Hastings College baseball team lost to Bellevue 6-2 yesterday. The Broncos are now 1-8 on the season and will play a 4-game series against Mayville State this weekend out at Duncan Field. Hastings College softball team swept a doubleheader from Bethel yesterday, 14-4 and 11-3. The Broncos are now 6-3 on the season and will play in the Friends Tournament coming up this weekend. Cohen Mannern of Hastings College has been named to the GPAC Wrestling All-Conference First Team. Mannern was also named the Freshman of the Year. Justin Rodriguez was named to the second team. The Nebraska Kearney men's basketball team lost to Fort Hays State 79-57 last night down in Hays, Kansas. The Lopers are now 11-15. They are 9-9 in the MIAA. The women lost 92-56. The Lopers are now 19-8. They're 12-6 in the conference. Fort Hays State will play at Kearney on Saturday. Boys Subdistrict basketball finals are set for tonight. Adams Central will play Holdridge in Holdridge. Tip-off will be at 7. We'll have the game tonight here on Extreme Sports beginning at 6:45. St. Cecilia will face Blue Hill at the Chapman Gym tonight. Tip-off will be at 6. Some other games, Fillmore Central will play Donovan Trumbull in Geneva. Grand Island Central Catholic will battle Thayer Central at the Crusader Gym. Sutton will play Cross County at Cross County. Alma will play host to Sandy Creek. Axtell will play Pleasanton in Pleasanton. Silver Lake will face Lawrence Nelson in Roseland. And Kennesaw will play Shelton in Shelton. At the boys B7 Subdistrict basketball tournament last night, York beat Lexington 58-27. Tonight, Aurora will play York in the first game at 5:30. Followed by Hastings High against Northwest at 7 o'clock. That's a check in your sports headlines. 7:28 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust to 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a check your forecast. Have a great day.
Right now, west winds at 11 miles per hour. It's mostly clear. 34 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the Advanced Funeral Planning Specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success. And now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson Havronik with you on this Thursday morning, the 27th day of February for 2025. Again, if you'd like to join us, you can. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330. Chime in on the social media sites if you'd like. Leave us a message. Be part of the show here today. Again, basketball tonight. We'll have Adams Central and Holdridge on the air tonight on Extreme Sports. 7 o'clock will be the tip-off time, 6:45 for the pregame. listen to the broadcast, click on our video option as well. So if you'd like to see the game, just like we're seeing it from the gym, just go to our social media sites, click on the video feed of our high school sports broadcast now, and you can watch the game right along with us. We'll be courtside tonight for Holdridge and Adams Central. Will be able to see it and listen to it here on Extreme Sports. So
very nice.
Mr. IT guy keeping us busy with all that stuff.
Keeping us busy and also keeping us a little hungry, too. He had sent us a Facebook post from, we can talk food for a second. I'm always willing to talk food in the morning and get set, but he's sent a picture of Hot Dogs Diner, a family-owned diner located in the heart of Hastings. This is apparently a new restaurant that's going to be opened up, so Hot Dogs Diner coming in. Also wanted to give you a heads up on situation over in Grand Island. Found this out yesterday. According to the Railside Facebook organization, which is essentially the downtown organization for GI, they've announced that the former Nathan Detroit's building will have a new occupant. That was the former home for Kincaidor Brewing prior to Kincaidor Brewing announcing plans to get a restaurant and a tap room built up in the Eunice development area over in Kearney. And a lot of questions were what's going to come into the Nathan Detroit's building. Everest Indian Kitchen will take its place. According to the Everest Indian Kitchen Facebook page, they plan to be open by March 20th. So Grand Island will have a little new flavor, some Indian flavor, coming into downtown GI.
And Hastings getting a hot dog hut, huh?
Getting a hot dog hut.
Oh, that's neat. Kind of down on Lincoln Street, I understand.
Yeah, Lincoln Street. Mm-hmm.
So be looking for that.
Some dogs and some curry.
I love dogs. Phil Snow was hired as Nebraska's associate head football coach in December of 2024. And finally we heard from him for the first time yesterday in Lincoln. And the coach said coming to Nebraska and working with Matt Rule was a great opportunity.
I've always liked Nebraska. I had some background playing against them. When I was at Arizona State, we played them 3 times, actually. So, I've always admired Coach Osborne in this program. But when Matt came here, Matt and I have known each other, Coach Rule, since 2001. And a lot of the assistants that came with him, I'm real close to. So, I followed it really closely. And so he asked me if I'd come and help. And I said, sure. And I didn't really know what the job was, but I'm just going to help on defense and special teams and, the quality of play on the field. And I'm looking forward to it.
And Snow says he'll definitely be involved with the game planning on defense.
Coach Butler will call the defense, okay? But I will be involved in the game plan. In there with them, and it's a collaborative thing, right? We all work together, and but it will be Coach Butler's defense, and we're all working for him in that room.
Again, Phil Snow has worked in the NFL with both the Carolina Panthers and New England, and he says the college game has definitely changed since the last time he worked with a college football team.
The portal and NIL, I left college football in 2019, so this is my first full-time gig with that in place. But, you just got to adjust to the times. And I think this staff has done, and Matt has done a great job adjusting. And you guys know this, his plan has changed a little bit from originally when he got here. And so it's an adjusting deal, and you just got to keep adjusting with it.
And Phil Snow says he's been a friend of Matt Rule for a long time, and he says that Matt continues to grow as a coach.
Matt knows how to build a program. Now, we didn't get it done at Carolina, but they only gave us really 2 years, right? It was a bad deal. But he knows how to build it, and he's building it here. You can see the progress from year 1 to 2, and now from 2 to 3, we've always made a jump. So that's the plan, is to make that jump this year. And so But, I think, Matt is always trying to get better. And, his staff, he can drive his staff nuts with that, too, because he's always looking for an edge and challenging you every day on the field and what you're teaching and how you're doing it, how you're recruiting. That's just Matt. He's always looking for an edge. So he'll always continue to grow.
Again, hearing comments here this morning from Nebraska's associate head football coach, Phil Snow, who met the media yesterday in Lincoln. Phil says the Big Ten really has its own identity as he has studied the Big Ten.
It's become a lot like the National Football League in its style of play. You have the run game, you have the two-back run game. You have the one-back passing game, real similar to the National Football League, along with personnel groups that they're running, much more so than some of the other conferences in America right now.
And Phil says he likes what Nebraska has done with their defense the past couple of years.
Well, I think Tony did a fantastic job with that 3-3 package. I ran a 3-3 package at Baylor, and it was different personnel. His is attacking. With all the different fronts, and they don't play that. We didn't play that many fronts here, but with all the movement, it becomes a lot of different fronts, and it's really hard to block offensively. It's a nightmare offensively, and Tony did a great job of adjusting and staying ahead of the offense every game in both seasons. So, and we're going to employ all that stuff on first and second down. We're going to hope to advance the third down package a little bit more like the National Football League. If you watch third down with everybody on the line of scrimmage and mugging backers, and we'll advance the third down package. Coach Butler will. You know, he has NFL background. I do. So, but we're taking a lot of what Tony did because it's highly successful and creates chaos for the offense.
And with all that NFL experience now on the defensive side of the ball, Phil Snow says they hope to make some changes defensively.
You know, you got to stay ahead. In the National Football League, you have to win third down. But when I say that, you have to win third down at any level, right? But you know, it's a little bit more sophisticated in the National Football League and college on third down, a little bit schematically. So I think John will bring some really good things to the table from an offensive standpoint. You know, the protections, will attack protections, the different types of coverages that we can play on third down that Tony didn't do. And that's nothing negative about Tony. He did a hell of a job with what he did, right? But I think there'll be a few different wrinkles on third down.
And Phil Snow says he'll definitely be busy on the field himself.
I need to stay busy on the field, right? I'm a football coach. That's the best thing I do is coach on the field. So I will be with a position every practice, helping somebody. It won't always be the D-line. But you know, I'll help with the linebackers, secondary. And, you know, obviously John needs to walk around and stuff, so I'll be the one that helps the other coaches. And, you know, that's what I do, and I really enjoy that. So that's one of the reasons I came back to do this.
All right, that's the Nebraska associate head football coach Phil Snow. Meeting was for the first time in Lincoln yesterday. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to drink the Roulade here in the month of February.
At least starting to put the ingredients together to mix yourself up a little batch of it for sure. Sounds like a football guy, you know. Talks in terms of the things that we've all said. You know, get off the field on third down. Don't let these teams extend drives on us. You got to be able to protect the sticks, and we've seen it time and time again that's kind of one glaring area. I love that he's taking what Tony did and just making tweaks to it, improving it a little bit. I get giddy when I hear the words "create chaos" from a defensive standpoint. At this point, you know, and when we said it last year, we were talking about the staff of this football team, and it's like, man, every position has a coach, and now it's almost to the point where every player has a coach that they go alongside. So the staff continues to grow. Rule continues to put the pieces and make tweaks and try to find an edge. And who can help us find that edge? We have unlimited resources at the University of Nebraska to be able to bring these guys on board and right this ship and get this football program back to championship contention category. And I think that these moves that we're making when we're shaking our head and going, what the hell is a info strategic analyst investigator? These are all positions that Rule feels will help us get that edge here in the Big Ten. And you know, make no mistake about it, we had a lot of catch up to do. we weren't even close to Ohio State and Michigan 3 years ago. I think we're getting closer, and we're continuing to find that edge, and we'll see how the chips fall. We've had a little bit of alteration on the schedule heading into the following year. I'm already seeing posts on Husker fan pages with the schedule posted and asking how many wins we're going to get. I think it's a little bit premature to make that kind of a determination and to put wins and losses. I kind of want to see how the spring shakes out for everybody and kind of see what cards are on the table. We're still in a situation where we're probably going to have to cut our roster down a little bit. So who's going to stay? Who's going to leave? Who's going to win those position battles and make and shake up the final roster before we head into the fall? There's still a lot of unanswered questions right now, but I'm with you. I might not be taking a sip of the Roulade yet, but I'm at least gathering the ingredients in the kitchen, getting ready to make a 2-quart jug of it for the upcoming fall. So,
I'm going to take a gulp.
Just take one big gulp.
I'm going to take a gulp here early, and then we're going to get. I think
it's noon somewhere, man. Go ahead.
I think this is the final retool as far as the coaching staff is concerned, bringing in these guys and getting the assistant AD for strategic intelligence in place. And I think this is the final retool of the coaching staff. Now they're going to start working on the spring football practice, which will be starting here in just a few weeks. Now they're going to get into the spring and actually put these guys to work, so to speak, get them in their roles, and they get them to work with the football team, and getting Sean Patton comfortable in his assistant AD's role for strategic intelligence, and get all the pieces working. And then, I'm with you. We'll see what happens after spring. We do still have to cut the roster. Mm-hmm. I think the last I saw, we're still up around 140 players. We have to cut that down to 105. Yeah. By the time the football season comes around next fall, so we still are going to lose some players off of the current roster. So
let me put you on the spot. We talked about this progression of Rule and his program building. They flash this graphic up at every game that you watch. His Temple record, his Baylor record, and his just natural progression of program building. First season was in the books. Second season was bowl game, and we're all talking about making that jump. What is that jump to you? What would that jump look like? Is it championship contention? Is it playoff contention? Is it towards the top of the table in the Big Ten standing? What is that jump?
I think the next logical jump after we go to a bowl game, now we got to get into the playoff. I'm not going to say win a playoff. I'm going to say we need to make the playoff.
Be a top 12 team.
Be a top 12 team.
Think we can do it?
I better take one more gulp. Where's my Roulade? Who's got the thermos?
Right.
Who's got the thermos this morning? Oh, what would the next jump be? Contend for a Big Ten championship? That'd probably be the next jump?
Put yourself in position to win a conference title. Put yourself in a position to be there in a conference championship game.
Can we make the college football playoff without winning the Big Ten?
It'd be real tough. Yeah, you can backdoor.
Backdoor it. A lot of teams did this time.
You can backdoor into it. I think 10. I think 10 wins is a logical jump.
Get us into a major bowl game outside the playoff?
Whether you're in a major bowl game outside the playoff or you put yourself in a position to be in the discussion. But I want to see us in the discussion. I want Selection Saturday on College Game Day when they're unveiling and doing resumes. I want to hear at least our resume being discussed.
Sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for Nebraska's name to be called.
Only to be crushed.
Only to be crushed
by the NCAA selection committee. Yeah. But I'm okay. That's a natural step.
All right, what do you think? Chime in. Give us a shout out on one of our social media sites. What's your expectations for Nebraska here early as we talk? I told you we would. We'd jump on the Husker bandwagon in February. Here we go. It's almost March. I guess it's almost March. It's going to be March this weekend. So
It took Phil Snow to get us to get us fired up about the Roulade, man.
Oh, we got some more comments coming up later this week or early next week. Some of the other assistant coaches was before the media yesterday. We'll get some comments from them coming. We'll be all Huskers here pretty soon. So what's your expectations? Drop us a note on Facebook or wherever you're listening to us or watching us at here this morning. What's your expectations early for Nebraska this year? Win total. You're saying 10?
I think 10 if we're making that logical progression. If we're going to continue to make strides as a program, 8 would be on the low end for me, but it's February, so let's shoot for the stars. Why not? I think 10 wins. A logical next step in the maturation of Coach Rule's progression plan. 10 wins.
I'd be in the boat with you on that one, paddling upstream. You could take one, or I'll take the other.
There you go.
Throw me in the boat. I'll get in the boat with you. Row the boat for 10 wins this year. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number if you'd like to join us today. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking horse racing again.
That's right.
Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network is going to join us as we get ready for the second week of action at Fauner Park. Racing Friday this week.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we swing into the full schedule now, and we'll check in with Jim and see what's going on for Fauner Park this weekend and other major races throughout the nation. That's coming up tomorrow morning at 7:30 as we talk horses tomorrow.
Weekend forecast looks okay.
Yep.
Going to be windy as hell on Sunday, but
windy
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. That doesn't bother anything. Horse racing wise, we can talk to Jim about that tomorrow. But I don't think the wind bothers horse racing at all. Maybe it does in handicapping.
It's pace, right?
Well, if the horses you're running against the wind.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk to Jim. He's a handicapper. Yeah, we'll talk to Jim tomorrow about what the wind does if you're a handicapper and trying to come up with winners. Maybe that's where we're going wrong.
We haven't been judging the horses that do well with the wind in their face.
Yeah, maybe. Did you get anything done last week, by the way, as far as winning at Fauner?
No, I only played one race. I was a good boy. I only played one race. I played the 9th. I played the Drasmic Stakes.
Yeah.
Played the favorite along with 2 other names that I heard on this show, and threw those into a $2 exacta box. Like I said, that 5 horse came up and kind of screwed everything up. So ended up losing on the Drasmics, and rather than what I normally do is try to recover on the next day, like say, well, that failed, but let's go make it back on a Sunday. I said, you know what? We're out what we're out. We had fun. Let's call it a weekend.
It's a long year.
And then we got a long season.
A long season ahead. So
that's right.
7:51, you're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. Huddle up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where they've been at the heart of the community since 1946. And community, well, it's at the heart of everything they do. As a nonprofit financial cooperative, the credit union is owned by the members who join, and joining, well, it's as simple as opening a primary savings account. Let's talk loans, shall we? You can get from point A to point B and everywhere in between with a low-rate vehicle loan. Whether you're committed to camping or love living the lake life, you can also count on the Hastings Federal Credit Union to finance your next big toy. They even do personal loans for life's little curveballs. So with the affordable low rates, the convenient repayment options, and a friendly staff that knows each member by name, you can see for yourself what the credit union difference is all about. That's Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. Nebraska Emergency Management Agency has issued an update last night on the fires burning in Custer County. Fire crews from over 40 different departments across the state actively battling 3 wildfires with efforts focused on containment and monitoring hotspots. Overall, an estimated 4,125 acres have burned in the Sandhills with 3 active fires. At this time, no evacuations have been issued. However, several individuals in the impacted areas have been notified of the ongoing situation. State resources have been deployed to assist local fire crews in containment efforts. Due to the ongoing fire activity across the area, the Broken Bow Fire Department has suspended all burn permits until further notice. Weather conditions continue to pose significant challenges as well, as the majority of Nebraska will be under an extreme fire danger coming up tomorrow, raising concerns about potential fire restarts and rapid fire spread. Meanwhile, at last check, power was out for all of St. Paul this morning. According to the St. Paul Police Facebook page, a post just before 6 a.m. read that a critical failure had occurred and caused a fire, asking residents to stay away from the area and let firefighters and linemen do their jobs. They will provide updates as they get them. You can monitor that situation via the St. Paul Police Facebook page. The Nebraska State Patrol welcoming the public to join in honoring the life and service of Trooper Kyle McCasey, who gave his life in the line of duty 10 days ago while responding to an accident on the interstate. Members of the public invited to observe a procession for Trooper McCasey, with family, colleagues, campmates, and supporters escorting Trooper McCasey to his funeral service this morning in Ralston. The public is invited to line the procession route and pay their respects to Trooper McCasey. Anyone wishing to view the procession should be in place along the route prior to 9 a.m. The public also welcomes those to attend the funeral service, which will begin at 11 o'clock this morning at Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Following the procession, Trooper McCasey's cruiser will be parked in front of the arena as a memorial where anyone can leave flowers, notes, or other gifts that will be given to the McCasey family. And it looks like a new food experience is coming to downtown Grand Island. The former Nathan Detroit's building, which housed Kincaidor Brewing prior to their announcement that they were going to be moving to the new Eunice development area in Kearney, Everest Indian Kitchen will be taking its place. According to the Everest Indian Kitchen Facebook page, they plan to be open by March 20th. Coming up on 5 Minutes Tell, let's head over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going down in sports?
Well, the Hastings College women's basketball team went on a 13-0 fourth quarter run last night to beat Northwestern 81-70 in the quarterfinals of the GPAC postseason tournament. The run was ignited by 3 3-pointers by junior Macy Bryant, who finished with 12 points. Bailey Kissinger led the way with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Broncos have now won 10 games in a row to improve to 23-6 on the season. They will play at number 1 ranked Dordt on Saturday in the semifinals. Tip-off will be at 2. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning at about 1:45 on Saturday. The Defenders beat Concordia last night 80-66. In the other games, Briar Cliff defeated Morningside 89-52, and Dakota Wesleyan got by Doane 79-71. On the men's side, Dordt defeated Mount Marty 76-59. Morningside beat Dakota Wesleyan 91-74. Northwestern ran past Briar Cliff 83-65, and Concordia outscored Midland 101-81. Boys Subdistrict basketball finals are set for tonight. Adams Central will play Holdridge in Holdridge at the Duster Dome. Tip-off will be at 7 tonight. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame at about 6:45. St. Cecilia also in action tonight. They'll face Blue Hill at the Chapman Gym in their sub-district final. Tip-off will be at 6. Hastings High will play in the semifinals tonight. The B7 sub-district tournament in Aurora. The Tigers will face Northwest. That game is set for 7 o'clock. That's a check in your sports headlines. 7:57 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust at 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a check your forecast. Have a great day.
West winds at 11 miles per hour now in Hastings. 34 degrees at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage karts, flat karts, and the A-class wing beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson or Vranic, wrapping up a Thursday morning now. Just by 8 o'clock, so if you had to be to work at 8, you're late. But that's okay. Just tell them you were listening to Mike and Tyson and they were finishing up the program.
Yeah.
The boss won't care. Just say you were. Yeah, just tell them you were finishing up listening to make sure we got all the information into you.
That'll give them a pass for sure. Or if you happen to be rushing to the 8 o'clock bell, you can always catch our podcasts that are uploaded shortly after the show comes to a conclusion, so you can catch anything that you've missed, whether that be on the Roku channel, which streams at 9 a.m., a replay of the program, or YouTube, which archives right away, or head back to the Facebook page. You can catch us in so many different ways here on Huddle Up this morning. A few quick shout-outs before I end my portion of the day. I wanted to give a special shout-out to Coach E and the Hastings College Broncos softball team. Another winning week, as they are on a little bit of a streak right now, picking up 2 more wins on their Kansas road trip, heading back to Wichita coming up this weekend. So good luck and continued success to the Hastings College Broncos softball team. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. And a tip of the cap to Japan. Japan knocks off USA in women's soccer last night to hoist the She Believes Cup, a 2-1 winner as the game wrapped up at around 11 o'clock.
God, 61 minutes it took for you to bring up soccer today.
I had it in my notes, but I didn't want to,
we had a lot
go over the top. You had all the hot hitting news here this morning on the sports front, so I didn't want to take the stage from you. But,
61 minutes without talking about soccer, and Japan beat the United States last night in soccer.
We waited till stoppage time to sneak that soccer bit in.
God. All right. What else is going on today? Anything?
Let's take a quick gander at the sports calendar, see what's on tap here today for this Thursday,
there's got to be basketball.
we got spring training ball. A lot of spring training ball. Good God. Hockey back in action. As mentioned yesterday on the show, Alex Ovechkin, 12 goals away from setting the all-time record. They're taking on the Blues tonight at 6 p.m., so you can go on record watch. We've got top 25 hoops, just a couple games in top 25 hoops, including one in the Big Ten. Anxiously awaiting Peacock's stream of Michigan and Rutgers tonight. That'll be played in Ann Arbor, Michigan, after their escape from Lincoln, escape from the vault with a victory and a poor shooting performance for both teams. Will take that 21-6 record and take on a 14-14 very sneaky Rutgers team. That's still a team that, man, I think if that Rutgers team can find their way into March somehow, they're a sneaky team to put on an upset bid, but they've got to play some winning basketball here because they're sitting at 14. I said yesterday the magic number is 20, so they got to win in a hurry. And out west, 10 o'clock start, which I'll be sleeping for. St. Mary's, 25-4 record. They're taking on Loyola Marymount. So just two top 25 matchups today.
Yeah, we'll have basketball tonight here on Extreme Sports.
I think you'll have the better game.
Yeah, we'll have Adams Central Holdridge tonight beginning at 7 on the air with the pregame show at 6:45 tonight here on Extreme Sports. Again, tomorrow, Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network is going to join us. We'll be talking some horses tomorrow morning at 7:30, along with some other sports we'll be telling you about. Again, if you'd like to listen to us again, you can on our social media sites, on Roku TV. It's all there. So listen to us on the podcast, and certainly tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family about Extreme Sports, and huddle up here. Join us again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Have yourself a great day.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us every weekday morning from 7 until 8 on Extreme Sports.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun doing 2 shows a day. I can't wait, though, when I get back out there with you, because, man, we get not only first-round sweats for golf, we get opening of the NCAA Sweet 16, we get opening day for Major League Baseball, the sliding scale. You and I might be with Mike Palm early in that sports book there in Circa.
I'm just saying, if we can do it, then they can let these kids go a little bit longer than 5 innings. Like, let's go, Skips. Let's let the kids eat a little bit more. By the way, we were talking about the big news coming out of the Combine in the last couple hours, and it does feel like it's Abdul Carter, whether or not he's going to need foot surgery. And Steve Cohen, of course, our Hefe here, he had a great text to us about Tyree Wilson. We should not forget that. Top 10 pick by the Raiders a couple years ago, and everybody thought his foot would be just fine, right? Doctors said the same thing. They're saying now, we're not saying it's not going to be okay for Abdul Carter, but we mentioned the adjustment in the betting market that we're seeing, that Cam Ward's slid up to $1.55 betting favorite to be the first overall pick, and that Abdul's slipping just a little bit. That's recent history and not good history for the Raiders. That is a red flag for me. It should be for Tennessee as well, correct?
Yeah, I would think that it just, when you hear what the terminology and, more importantly, the language, and again, this all goes into why the betting markets imply some of these moves. And so you and I can read into it what we want from the spin on Drew Rosenhaus. But if the doctors come out and say, yeah, this is surgery, I mean, it's going to be something that teams will have to consider. And that's why I said I still think Tennessee is in that Abdul Carter or trade out of the pick. I just don't know if, that is – Cam Ward was fantastic. Shedeur Sanders, fun to watch. But are these franchise-changing quarterbacks in the sense, like, are you going to compete with either of these guys in the first 2 years of that rookie contract? I can't get sold on that at the number 1 pick. If you want to take him later and they can do that, that's awesome. But back to the Abdul Carter part, yeah, you have to get it right at 1. And if you said it perfectly, if there is any trepidation whatsoever with Abdul Carter, get out of there and get some real estate if you're Tennessee.
I mean, again, at first blush, it would have been, if I was a GM, it would have been Abdul Carter. But now it's not just the shoulder. Now you've got a foot injury plus $1.85 to be the first pick of the NFL draft. If I'm Tennessee, I'm just saying, we're going quarterback. So if you want a quarterback, you better trade up to number 1 to get this and get that whatever you can get if you are going to slide down, if you really don't have your eyes on Cam Ward now, minus $1.55 to be that first pick. Last night, we saw dramatics. Again, it's still February, starting to feel like March, with Sparty getting that buzzer beater over half-court winner to win by 3 at Maryland. So, again, small money line price doesn't get home for the Terps. They had a lot of opportunities. We thought we're going to overtime. This is where it starts to tighten up a little bit here, Jensen. The games, yes, they mean as much in November and December, but now you're rounding into shape. And Sparty is doing that, 28-1 now to win the national championship. Remember, this was north of 40-1 a week ago. What do you take away from Sparty's win last night in College Park?
First and foremost, if you look at the last 3 to 4 games, all ranked opponents, and it's their defense in the final 4 to 5 minutes. Last night, and hey, this is a Maryland backer right here at minus 3.5. I was debating of going down to minus 170 on the money line. I know Matty Humans was on that too, and kind of the school of Matt Humans of take the possessions out of it and just pay a little bit more on the money line. I thought we were going to have a chance to finally get not only the money line, but the spread across when they had the final possession there. But it's more of how we got there. And this is more of the narrative about Michigan State, where Tom Izzo has them coached up, and it's the depth of what he can go to. When you limit offenses, and yes, has some of the Big Ten offenses been archaic here the last couple of weeks? Sure. But at some point, Dave, we're going to see defense, and we're going to see it in the NCAA tournament. And I asked you, of the 2 seed line yesterday, who would you feel most comfortable hitching your wagon to that could cause problems for the 1 seed and maybe reach it? It's Michigan State.
Yep.
Iowa State showed cracks in the armor. Tennessee, I can't trust with a 10-foot pole. And really where you're looking at how teams are trending, we've made this a huge theme. Teams trending in the right direction and really crescendoing into their conference tournaments and the end of their conference regular seasons. Is there a better team right now than what Michigan State has done, not only offensively when needed, but more importantly, defensively and on the road? I mean, Maryland, no field goals in the last 5 minutes. That's how you win in really ugly games.
Trey Holloman was that guy, 10th guy off the bench for Tom Izzo to hit the game winner there with that heave, 58-55 the final there. We did see a buzzer beater in Oklahoma. Otega Oweh, of course, former Sooner, gets revenge against Porter Moser and company. And the over does cash. Now, again, it cashes if you got it late on the over on the game winner. Jensen, you had a little bit of wiggle room here on that over. You already had it whether that shot went in or not. But Kentucky does escape with that 83-82 win.
Well, it was, again, where we were asking about what is Kentucky? Who can we believe they are? And in a good spot here to really make it stand up, they do. Now really feel fortunate that by the end of the show, we gave out over 162.5 because it kept going up. Now, the first 5 minutes of that game, yeesh, it was down to like the low 150s. So, okay, what's happening? And then it finally opened up for both clubs. But again, I look at Kentucky, a potential 3 seed here. Can you buy them as a club that if they get into the Sweet 16, is this the iteration that Mark Pope can get out of them? Because if they are, then wow, now that changes the landscape of whatever that region's Sweet 16 bracket looks like. We've asked this for Tennessee. We've asked this for Kentucky, even Missouri. Can you believe in them to not only reach that, but also create the opportunity with what you do offensively and defensively?
And again, bearing the lead, Vanderbilt gets a big win. You didn't need the 8.5 against Texas A&M. They cashed that ticket in the over hits here with that big win at Texas A&M yesterday. But again, that baseball betting guide, it is out today. Jensen, you've done yeoman's work on it with Adam Burke and company. So again, check it out, VSiN.com/subscribe right now. $9.99 for the first 30 days to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. It's great information if you're serious about betting baseball. We know we can't wait for the season, so some real actionable insight in there right now. VSiN.com/subscribe. When we come back, Mike Palm joins us right here in studio. It is VSiN by the Books.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
With a Bloomberg Business of Sports report, I'm Michael Barr. Michael Strahan is launching a direct-to-consumer custom tailoring operation. Michael Strahan Design Lab will deliver made-to-order suits within 2 weeks at flat prices. The brand has been in business for 10 years and has expanded into licensed sports apparel. The group that owns Cadillac Formula One officially launched TWG Motorsports. Dan Torres was named CEO. TWG Motorsports is the controlling owner of several racing teams, including Cadillac F1, IndyCar's Andretti Global, and NASCAR Spire Motorsports. River Plate and other Argentine soccer teams have been signing up top players to million-dollar contracts, a reversal from previous years when they couldn't compete with foreign clubs financially. The revival in Argentine soccer is attributed to President Javier Milei's efforts to slash the government's budget deficit, which has brought stability to the peso. With a Bloomberg Business of Sports report, I'm Michael Barr.
Sean Green.
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust to 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a Check Your Forecast. Have a great day.
Extreme Sports, the ultimate destination for sports enthusiasts.
This is the greatest record in the history of sports.
Broadcasting live 24/7.
Just have some fun out here, and enjoy the journey of all this of trying to get 16 wins and going after a gold trophy.
We give the people what they want.
And I am a huge sports fan. I love sports.
You're tuned in to VSiN by the Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN by the Books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis here on a Thursday. We always love when Mike Palm joins us here in studio, kind enough to do that just now. Here, Circa VP of Operations at Mike Palm Circa on X. Mike, how are you, my man?
Good morning. How are you?
We are doing well. You were telling us a little bit about your business dealings last night here at Circa. And I know that, like, we talk about, the art of the deal, how things get done. How about for you guys here? Because we see if you're watching a Blackhawks game, you got a Circa patch. If you're watching a Padres game, you get Circa behind home plate. That doesn't just happen organically. It's got to be conversations, dinners. It's got to be a lot of intensive talks.
It's a lot. And right now, we're in the process where in the next 24 hours, we have to make a decision on our baseball, Dave. Padres, we've got a pitch from the Dodgers, and now Oakland/Sacramento A's, right?
Whoa.
And they're all very interesting, very different deals, different assets, and much different prices, right? We have to make those decisions. This was a trip because the Blackhawks are playing VGK tonight here at T-Mobile. So they brought 15 members of their executive team along with like 50 of their top sponsors. So it was really nice having dinner at Barry's. Barry's did a great job. But Pat Foley, who called their game. I never met Pat Foley.
Legend.
A legend, right?
Yeah.
So, dinners there are not quick. And we started I said, Derek, 7? We're going to start at 7? I have a show at 6 a.m. We're going to start at 7. So it timed out perfectly because at 8:55, they're getting ready to serve the entree. And I told them, hold it for a second. I just want to get up and thank everyone for coming. And then I said, I'll close with this. As we approach midnight Eastern, again, on a work night, on a school night, it begs one simple question. Who does a 7 p.m. dinner time start for? which was, of course, Pat Foley's ran about the 8:42 time starts when the Blackhawks and Blues played that series. So it was great to meet him, though. And I said to him, "Do you miss it?" He says, "I miss the 3 hours of the game, calling the game. I don't miss the prep. I don't miss the travel at all." He said, so I guess he's a scratch golfer. Everybody said he's a terrific golfer, so he's living the good life now.
That's what a lot of former broadcasters, players, that's normally what they do, Jensen. They become great golfers. But, yeah, I mean, that's the art of the deal. That's how these things get done, and it's why it helps, I think, arguably, the best sports book in town is right here.
It's funny, we talk about golfing, we've gotten to know Greg Maddux pretty well through the years, through the charity event he does here. And I asked him one time, I said, who was your favorite manager to play for? I want to know about, is he going to say Bobby Cox? Is he getting, I want to hear none of those pitchers really speak highly of Leo Mazzoni, if you ever, of that staff,
really?
if you listen to them. But anyhow, he said, this is easy. Bud Black.
Oh, wow.
He said he was 2 years older than me. We golfed together all the time. He said, I related to the guy so well. He was absolutely my favorite to play for.
Yeah, Mikey, it's amazing, too. And obviously, for people that don't know, it's a special place in our heart with Bud Black and his time in Cleveland. But as a fellow pitcher, when you get to the highest level and you know what it takes, it's easy when you can go talk to your pitcher because your pitcher's going to believe him. But, hey, I want to follow up with you because I shout out Dave for giving me and Michelle the idea to go head to Andiamo. So we got our baptism there on Friday. Miguel, who served us there, was phenomenal. Can't wait to go back. I can remember some lengthy dinners, Mikey, in some great road cities that really the best one is the story from Seattle when we went to Metropolitan Grill out there. And I did not know, it was my rookie year in 2007. We had clinched a division already. I did not know that was where I was going to get my rookie hazing by getting stuck with the bill. And so there's probably 18, 20 of us. We got a private room. Paul Bird sitting next to me ordering some very expensive wine. And then our waitress comes over and says, really appreciate, you taking care of the bill. You can do it at any point. And I'm looking around. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and Mike, I only had one credit card at that time with, I think, a $5,000 limit. Oh, okay. And I had, like rent. I had other expenses and stuff on there. We're on the road. And so I'm seeing the number on it. And I'm like, this is like a $7,000 bill. Like, I can't do this. I can't. And Casey Blake's next to me. And he's like, sorry, Rook. You have to do it. And Trot Nixon come over and put his hand on me. He goes, really appreciate you doing this for us. This is really nice of you. And Casey goes, don't worry. I'll get the cab fare back to the hotel. So I'm looking at it, and I'm the idiot in shock that doesn't have the presence of mind, Mikey, to look at the actual number of the credit card that's on the receipt. So I get to the clubhouse early the next day. Trot Nixon's in there getting some early treatment. He comes up to me and he goes, hey, man, how you doing? I'm like, not good. I feel like I'm be playing for free for this road trip. And he goes, how much did you tip last night? Do you have the receipt? And I'm like, yeah, I got the receipts. I show him. And he's starting to look at me and goes, do you see what number's on there? And I look down, I'm like, and I had no presence of mind to go online and look and see if the charge went through or anything. No, I was just in utter shock that number was going to go on my credit card. And thank God this was the prank of pranks, because Trot had paid for it already. They just stuck me with the receipt. I signed for it and the whole thing. Yeah, that was 3 hours of my life and maybe a restless night's sleep I will never get back.
Well, I would have thought it's not going to go through. And now in front of all these guys, she's going to come back and say, sir, your card was declined. Right? And now what?
And now what? Really stuck.
They're already on their way back to the hotel.
That's very cool, Trot Nixon, by the way. I'm glad that he bailed you out, Jensen. Mike, I'm wondering, we've been talking a lot about it, obviously in the futures market in college basketball here. Are you guys seeing a lot of movement, at least people saying, all right, this team I trust? We've been talking about Sparty a lot today. Yeah. That number's been shorted here down to 28-1 I've been seeing in the marketplace, 40-1 a week ago. How much of the results now are driving people to the window a lot?
Very much. Teams get on a 2-week winning streak here, like Michigan State's done after the loss to Indiana, to go to Michigan, and then this looks like it's a tough spot coming off that big win. I really thought they were in control of the game from about the 16-minute mark. Yep. They had a 9-point lead, and then they collapsed a little down the stretch, and then, of course, the fantastic ending. I'll tell you this about that team. There's no superstar on that team, but Tom Izzo likes that team.
Loves it.
Listen, when I listen to these coaches, Jensen, talk in this era of NIL, I more and more, I don't think these coaches like their teams. I mean, Bill Self clearly does not like his team.
Hates
his team. But I feel very fine coaches that really like their team, and I think Izzo's one of them this year.
What's remarkable, Mike, is looking at the older regime coaches of when it was the old school recruiting and how they had to go into homes and do all that. And now, it begins with, okay, well, what can you offer me from an NIL standpoint, a compensation standpoint? I'm still in the old school where I'm like, my full ride to Vanderbilt was my compensation. Like, you're paying me to go to school here and play for the team. That was enough for me at that point. But it's also now, and Dave, kind of intrigued your thoughts to it now as we've seen it. In Ohio, we were a little bit late to the party. In Ohio State now, obviously with their collective is massive in recruiting for football and some other sports. But I was always wondering about when you're 18, you still don't kind of know, at least some people don't know how to handle the expectations, let alone given 6 figures, maybe 7 figures. Like when you fail and wondering how the resources are to help kids through that. Like, it's the first real expectations that have been put on them, let alone now you have a financial burden from sponsors or collectives. I'm telling you, I think coaches now more than ever have to be great counselors, not just for the play, but for the off the field stuff, because there are some vengeful people out there like, I invested in you, man, and you stink right now on the field. So I think there's give and take with the NIL, especially in that recruiting process.
I know guys that sponsor kids at different programs, especially in football, right? They sponsor a specific kid, and then they're sitting here, the book, expecting results, right? And they have meetings to meet with the kid. They have phone calls. They have meetings with the kids, so there is an expectation. Also, on the other side for a coach, kids that aren't going to play at the next level really need their playing time now because they got to make their money in college, right? And you're not giving me a shot to maybe go to another school next year and make more money because you're not playing me enough. Because my earning period is only now. I'm not going to play at the next level.
Again, you look at Kansas. They were preseason number one, and now they're like 60-1 to cut down the nets. And Michigan State, clearly not as talented as what Kansas could offer, 28-1 with this winning streak, and maybe a 2 seed is what we're hearing here from Lenardi.
Dave, I'm very excited about the Major League Baseball guide coming out today, right? I heard Jensen had some part of it with Adam.
Big part of it.
How about Hoops? Was Hoops involved in this?
I cannot speak.
He does a 6-hour-a-day podcast on Major League Baseball.
He does
I've had this marketing idea for a long time that it should be narrated. The guide should also be a book on tape.
Oh, my God.
Wouldn't you love to hear Hoops narrate the Major League Baseball guide? They tried it out with Paul Stone and the college football guide. It came in just under 38 hours. So Bill Lady scrapped the idea.
I'll still listen to Paul Stone or Hoops Peterson talk about anything. By the way, if you want to come out to Las Vegas like Jensen did here a week ago, you can do so right now. Great offer here for any of Derek Stevens' 3 properties that we have here. You can go either to where we are at Circa, of course, the D, not too far down the street, and of course, the Golden Gate. So use the promo code VEASAN15 when you go to CircaLasVegas.com. 15% off your stay if you book it now. So again, use the promo code VEASAN15, CircaLasVegas.com. When we come back, America is ready for it each and every week. I know Jensen Lewis is ready for it. Get ready because it's Palms Pressing 3. That's next when you come back with us right here on VEASAN by the Books.
Hey, it's Bill from VEASAN. You may know me as the guy who writes the VEASAN Daily Newsletter, but I'm also one of VEASAN's owners. If you're a business owner like I am, you need to reach customers ready to spend, right? VEASAN talks to millions of engaged sports fans every month, folks with money in their pockets, ready to bet on the next big game. If you want to connect with this audience, email me at bill@VEASAN.com. Let's talk about how VEASAN can help your business, no matter what its size, win big.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hey, it's...
I'm Mike Will, the Sports Update on Extreme Sports. Nebraska is hiring New England Patriots Director of Pro Personnel Patrick Stewart as the program's new general manager. Stewart will replace Sean Patton, who will move to a new role of Assistant AD for Strategic Intelligence. Stewart has worked in various roles with Ohio State, Western Carolina, and Temple before breaking into the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, Carolina Panthers, and the Patriots. The Nebraska baseball team will play in the Frisco College Baseball Classic this weekend. The Huskers are 3-4 in the season. They'll have games against Sam Houston, LSU, and Kansas State. The softball team will play 5 games in the Wichita State tournament this weekend. The Huskers are 12-4. Nebraska will have 2 games against Missouri and single games against San Diego State, Oklahoma State, and Wichita State. Hastings College women's basketball team went on a 13-0 fourth quarter run last night to beat Northwestern 81-70 in the quarterfinals of the GPAC postseason tournament. The run was ignited by 3 3-pointers by junior Macy Bryant, who finished with 12 points. Bailey Kissinger led the way with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Broncos have now won 10 games in a row to improve to 23-6 on the season. They'll play at number 1 ranked Dordt on Saturday in the semifinals. Tip-off will be at 2. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning at 1:45. The Defenders beat Concordia last night 80-66. In the other games, Briar Cliff defeated Morningside 89-52, and Dakota Wesleyan got by Doane 79-71. On the men's side, Dordt defeated Mount Marty 76-59. Morningside beat Dakota Wesleyan 81-74. Northwestern ran past Briar Cliff 83-65, and Concordia outscored Midland 101-81. Hastings College baseball team lost to Bellevue 6-2 yesterday. The Broncos are now 1-8 on the season and will play a 4-game series against Mayville State this weekend out at Duncan Field. Hastings College softball team swept a doubleheader from Bethel yesterday, 14-4 and 11-3. The Broncos are now 6-3 on the season and will play in the Friends Tournament coming up this weekend. Cohen Mannert of Hastings College has been named to the GPAC Wrestling All-Conference First Team. Mannert was also named the Freshman of the Year. Justin Rodriguez was named to the second team. The Nebraska Kearney men's basketball team lost to Fort Hays State 79-57 last night in Hays. The women lost to Fort Hays State 92-56. Fort Hays State will play at Kearney on Saturday. And that is sports.
You're tuned in to VEASAN by the Books, right here on VEASAN.
We are back, VEASAN by the Books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis. And again, each and every day, I think people look forward to the Daily Diamond as we get ready for baseball season. I know every week the people get ready for Palms pressing 3. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Pressing? Yes, I say it's pressing.
This is Palms Pressing 3.
My mother told me never to answer a question with a question. Sir, my client has answered every question asked by this committee with the utmost sincerity.
All right, Jensen, we always start with the Jay Swifty softball to get you in groove here. So, in the last 20 seasons, we've observed a clear trend in Major League Baseball. The World Series is won by major market teams that average 35,000 people in attendance for their home games throughout the course of the year. There are only 2 exceptions to this rule, the 2015 Royals and the 2023 Rangers. Meanwhile, smaller market teams like the Guardians and the Twins and the Brewers often excel during the regular season, posting impressive records only to fall short when facing these high payroll major market powerhouses in the playoffs. We also know that the postseason atmosphere is a completely different animal, as stadiums are packed to capacity and intense media scrutiny follows every pitch. Given this dynamic, and with your experience with a small market team in Cleveland that came only 1 game short against the mighty Red Sox, do you believe that the continued success of the large market teams is primarily due to having more talented and deeper rosters? Or is it possible that smaller market teams accustomed to playing in front of smaller crowds and with less media attention are at a psychological disadvantage when confronted with the now new high-pressure environment of sold-out stadiums and heightened media presence, which is something the larger market teams are more accustomed to navigating on a daily basis? Is it nerves, not payroll, that is the main reason why these little engines that could almost always fall flat in the end?
I don't think so. I go back to, we gave the Trot Nixon story before, and when we were headed to New York to face the Yankees at Old Yankee Stadium my rookie year, I can remember him coming to us and bringing us together for the workout in between Game 2 and Game 3. And he said, now, every media member is going to try and twist your words. You keep it short. We're not intimidated. We belong here. And that was a guy that obviously, as you know, Mike, had played and won a World Series with Tito Francona in Boston. And so it was more of having the right roster construction of guys that had been there, done that. Because we went into New York and we weren't afraid whatsoever. And obviously having a 2-0 series lead certainly helps that. But I think we were of the mindset that we belong there. We were neck and neck with the Red Sox to the final game of the regular season for best record in the American League. And so I think the iterations now you're seeing, you probably go back to, even the pandemic year, Mike, you remember this, where it was the Dodgers, the highest payroll, the Rays, the lowest payroll. So you had both ends of the spectrum in the World Series. It's possible. And then even, payrolls back 2014, 2015, it was the Royals going up against the Mets, and the Royals had gotten to back-to-back World Series. So I don't think as much so the nerves. I think everyone's pretty much ready to go. And I think now in our social media age, guys are so seasoned to expecting, things to be out there. And, they've grown up with it. They've been on TikTok and Instagram and X and Facebook. They've seen all that stuff. So I can't say that it's more of the big market teams. It's probably more of having the flexibility to be wrong on spending on bigger free agents or guys that don't pan out and being able to absorb that money loss, whereas the smaller mid-market teams, they got to hit on every single acquisition.
The 2015 World Series should be stricken from the record book.
Well, speaking of small markets in the 2015 World Series, Jensen, I'm very high on the Royals this year.
Oh, boy.
They have Bobby Witt Jr., a ton of speed, and veteran leadership in the form of Salvi Perez. I bet them over 82.5 wins and plus 320 to win the AL Central. Evaluate for me, if you will, what you expect this season from their top 3 starters: Cole Ragans, Seth Lugo, and Michael Wacha.
You and I had a great and spirited discussion about what the Cy Young could potentially look like, and I would go right back to the well with Cole Ragans. Now that he has the contract extension too, something to be said, and Dave and I talked about this, where when you have that peace of mind and mentally you don't have to worry about stuff off the field as far as contract stuff is concerned, now you can kind of pin your ears back and just go attack and have some free will. I think Cole's going to be right up there, and I'll ask you a question too, because I know you like looking at where Seth Lugo is and also anticipating if Michael Wacha, could run back what he did in a Royals uniform. To me, I think you handicap it with there's probably 6, maybe 7 guys from an innings threshold standpoint in the American League side that could get to the 180s, the 190s, even to the 200s. I think you can kind of whittle this field down right away unless we have someone that is just ridiculous and comes out of the woodwork.
Reagan's, by the way, is 9-1 to win the Cy Young.
Yeah, I'm big on Lugo.
Ooh.
I think the Mets misused him for 5 years.
Oh, totally.
He was a 8th inning guy, then he was long relief, then he was their closer, then he was the spot starter, then back to the bullpen. Listen, I thought it was disappointing in San Diego his first year as a starter, but I thought he put it together last year. But I desperately saw early August in looking at his numbers and his speed metrics, he needed to skip 2 starts. His arm was dead. And they didn't find that out until he had 3 bad starts in a row. And then they gave him the break. They needed to do it earlier, right? I mean, you can't just extend innings overnight. It's a gradual process of building. But I think it's why, obviously, the Central's wide open. It's a 4-team race, right? You can make cases for any of the 4 teams other than the White Sox.
Absolutely. By the way, Lugo, if you're looking for a long shot, 45-1 to win the Cy Young.
I had him at 40-1 last year. And that was after the first month when he was 250-1 before the season. He gave us a little bit of a run. Okay, final question. Jensen, I often hear and read about how even the most successful manager's message becomes stale. And despite great success, organizations need a fresh voice. In today's game, we've seen it with Terry Francona, with Bruce Bochy, Bob Melvin, Bud Black, and even Craig Counsell. If a manager is highly competent and extremely successful. In some case, winning multiple world championships. Why the need for change?
Well, and I think having experience in covering Tito, what he was so great at was being able to allow his coaching staff to do what they need to do and empowering them. And I think younger managers sometimes get caught in the nitty gritty and are really too hands-on, if you will. The messaging is, I don't think, independent of age. What I think the messaging is an extension of the manager. And I'll take Tito in his first year in Cleveland. He had Jason Giambi as a veteran in the clubhouse. And to this day, he said, I really didn't need to say much, because ultimately, whether you're an older manager, younger manager, you want the players to police themselves. And you almost want a manager that's in a player's uniform. So he had Jason Giambi in 2013. He had Mike Napoli when the Indians went to the World Series in 2016. And now I think when you look at this iteration of what he's got in Cincinnati, it's a little bit of a new wave for Tito. He's probably not had this amount of young impact talent. I mean, even in a couple of years in Cleveland, he still had a pretty solid veteran presence. So it gets stale, Mike, when you're on those like 7-8 game losing streaks, and it doesn't matter what anyone says is awful. So I think it's the veteran guys being able to be nimble and shake stuff up, and through that experience, be like, all right, like let's go do something crazy off the field that doesn't involve anything with baseball. So those guys having the experience to know when to pivot, I think, is the biggest difference maker for anyone.
Tito's plus 550 to win National League Manager of the Year this year. So maybe that message will be revitalized in Cincinnati this year. Craig Counsell is the smaller favorite at 5-1. Do I have a time for a question for you?
Sure.
Okay, because we've been talking, Jensen and I, about the robot umps. Mm-hmm. I know as a former umpire, what do you make of it, of trying to implement this here in spring training? Do you think it's going to work long term?
I think they should just go 100%. I don't like this challenge system. It's too. I think it's too demeaning to the umpire calling the balls and strikes. Honestly,
really,
they should just go to it 100%. I mean, the game's 11-1 and cuts a guy out on strike 3, and now, oh no, it wasn't. It was ball 4. So let's have another batter. I mean, let's just do it all the way. I mean, we have enough of Angel Hernandez missing 3 straight calls at first base to get us through.
I don't know, Jensen.
I'm trying to think of guys that were still around when Jensen was. Who was your favorite umpire to call balls and strikes for you? Did you have a favorite? Did you know him?
Probably Jim Joyce.
Okay.
It was as good as it gets. I had trouble. And now I told Dave this story the other day. CB Buckner gave me one of the greatest strikeouts that should have never been if the challenge system was in. I threw a changeup at Manny Ramirez's eyes, and he rung him up. And I thought Manny was going to have a heart attack and whiplash in his neck, turn around. Like, you kidding me? So, I'm with you. You need to get the call right. Coming from reliever, want the call right in all those close games.
I see Scherzer, though, north of the border. He's already upset with it.
When I was growing up as an umpire, I always thought Paul Runge was the best ball and strike guy. Good. But he was a National League guy at that time, right? When they were back in. But I was a Paul Runge guy.
High strikes back then. Low strikes, high strikes. Different leagues. Mike, great stuff as always. Appreciate you coming in as you do each and every Thursday.
Thanks, Jensen.
All right, Jensen, when we come back, we will get to our best bets, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on in the golf. These guys are going low in the first round of the Cognizant down there in Florida. Come on back. It is VSiN by the books.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Prop Points with Nick Whalen and Jeff Erickson.
Pittsburgh
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday. Hey, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust to 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a check your forecast. Have a great day.
Taking care of your teeth and gums is important to keeping a healthy smile, and that's where we come in. Dr. Corey Baumgartner of Baumgartner Family Dentistry will provide exceptional oral care services to both children and adults. They offer routine cleanings and screenings, emergency and scheduled surgical and cosmetic procedures, and a teeth whitening program to all of their patients. Whatever your dental care needs, Baumgartner Family Dentistry is there to help. New patients are welcome. Just call 402-462-6484 or stop in and see them at 2217 West 12th Street in Hastings.
You are listening to Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage karts, flat karts, and the A-class winged beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
Have you or a loved one been injured in a motor vehicle accident? Hi, I'm Mitch Stellick from Stellick Law Firm in Grand Island, and we specialize in personal injury law. Let Stellick Law Firm assist you in making sure that you and your family are taken care of following a motor vehicle accident. Call us today at 308-675-4035 to schedule your appointment. Let us be your voice.
VEASAN by the books, right here on VEASAN.
We are back, VEASAN by the books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis. Very quickly, remember Jordan Spieth?
Yeah.
Kid's going low. That new kid out there, and 4 under for Jordy. We got a Jordan sighting here, so I'm sure as the day goes on, don't go anywhere. VEASAN's going to have you covered here as that first round is underway down there. The Florida swing has begun here at the Cognizant Classic, and the guys are going low out of the gate. So factor that in if you have not gotten any plays in yet for this tournament. Do the 4-day math there. If these guys are shooting 6-7 under par, you're going to have to be in the 20s, it looks like, to win at the first of the Florida swing here to begin. But these guys, including Jordan Spieth, getting off to really good starts. Great conversation with Mike Palm. And obviously earlier in the day, we've been talking a lot about Abdul Carter because it does feel like the betting news today, at least when you get to the Combine here in Indy, we know Abdul Carter is not going to be doing anything there. We know now that it's not the shoulder, it's the foot that might be a red flag. And it was reflected in the numbers change here overnight, where all of a sudden Cam Ward's going to be going to $1.55 betting favorite. And you see that a little drift here, plus $1.85 for Abdul Carter. I just checked DraftKings, and as we were in break, that number's already come down to plus $1.70. That might be with this news that Adam Schefter has taken to X and said that the doctors have told Abdul Carter, the projected potential number 1 pick, that after further scans on that right foot, surgery is not advisable, and that Carter will work out on his March 28 pro day at Penn State. Now, you kind of expect this from Drew Rosenhaus, the quote, "I couldn't be more confident that this will be a non-factor when he's drafted. He will put on a show at his pro day." Now, Jensen, for me, the first sign is if you're going to be the number 1 pick in the draft or number 2, very few guys do anything, if anything at all, at their pro day. It almost feels like he needs to do this now, March 28th. How important does that day now become?
From a betting standpoint, if you want to, I think this is the best of the number. If he's right and he does even above average, he doesn't have to put on a show. If he's above average and checks the boxes, then as I told you before, I thought Tennessee's best strategy was Abdul Carter or trade the pick. And I think my best bet would be at this point, I'll lock in the plus money price for Abdul Carter to go first overall. I think it was 185. You said it's down to 170 at DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
So if he does what he's capable of doing and he shows he's healthy, he's going to end up being the favorite. I don't see a scenario in which something catastrophic would have to happen. Like he'd have to really be favoring that foot. He'd really have to give away some things where the Titans brass would be like, we're 98% convinced. We're not 100% convinced.
I will say this. The one thing that I kind of look at is this is Drew Rosenhaus's way of saying, hey, everything's great. We'll see you in a month. It's still a month. That if that foot's an issue, he's playing the time game, right?
Yeah.
We got a whole month to make sure we can put on this version of a dog and pony show so it doesn't affect him in the draft, whether that's 1 or 2. Tennessee obviously occupying the first spot. The bigger news would be if they canceled the pro day. Right?
Oh, man, yeah.
If all of a sudden we get there, we're on the precipice of this, everybody's going to be there. Then they go, you know what? Don't need to do the pro day. He's fine. That would be the bigger flag to me that we're trying to hide something. Is this transparency, you think, by Drew saying not only is he going to do something, he's going to put on a show for everybody that attends on March 28th?
I think you come out, and any good PR person would want to dissuade any speculation where you want a firm answer, you want a clear answer of he feels great. This news emboldens us even more. Can't wait to show off his skill set. and I think that allows him, from your timing idea, that if something were to crop up, you at least have the leeway to not have it hanging over you. Where if you didn't have, and let's say the doctors didn't come out to say, yeah, we don't advise it. Let's say that he comes out today, no qualms about it, but you don't have evidence to back it up. It's just he said, she said.
Right.
And so I think this helps Drew Rosenhaus's spin, because you at least have medical people on record saying we don't advise it. Not to say we wouldn't do it, but we don't advise it at this time.
I mean, I watched Jerry Maguire. I don't know that I can trust Sugar in a situation like this. Let's get to our best bets. They're brought to us by GBank, the official bank of VSiN. And let's talk about some of these marquee games, at least national TV games tonight in the NBA. And the Nuggets taking a little bit of money here. They've gone up to a 3.5-point favorite. Remember, it was 2.5 up to 3, now 3.5 here before we sign off for this edition of VSiN by the Books. And the total's gone up to 241 as well. Again, I keep waiting for the Bucks to say, y'all keep forgetting about us here in the Eastern Conference. Maybe tonight's a night that they could say Dame and Giannis, it is enough to be real players in the East. But at least the betting market right now, it's going against them, and they're playing the Nuggets.
Yeah, at the moment, stay away from me, and just kind of want to watch the total here and to see if there is a little shift and maybe some more money does come in on the under. It feels like a pretty high total, and I get it. It's Denver, and we're seeing the path of least resistance here. But stay away from me at this point, and I'm with you. This is more of as a handicapper to watch for the long term. This is a playoff team in Denver. What does Milwaukee do on their home court? What can you prove to me to want to buy in perhaps long term?
We do have a seismic shift here in the T-Wolves and Lakers. Not so much in the side. It's gone up to 6.5 from the beginning of the show here. But it is the total. That was 225 in the overnight. We're already up to 229 now with the T-Wolves and the Lakers. T-Wolves, really nice win against OKC earlier in the week with that great comeback, and you win it in overtime on the road. Maybe they're trying to say, again, kind of like the Bucks in the East, maybe your discounted price right now on the T-Wolves. Lakers, what is surprising to me, I just checked the futures numbers here. They've gone from $7.50 to win the West to $8. It's gone against them, which is a little bit of a surprise with their win over Dallas. I know they didn't cover the number, but Luka gets that triple-double. What do you make of the Lakers tonight, and what do you make of that slight adjustment there in the Western Conference numbers?
Yeah, and we talked more about Minnesota and really if there was going to be a team that could rise up, and JVT even said it to us earlier in the week, that's a club that should go down the table in the standings to see talent-wise, do they have ingredients within? Sure. Do they need to play better? Absolutely. Are they doing that? Well, I think in retrospect, you want to know what will happen as Anthony Edwards goes, and then with a Julius Randle and a Rudy Gobert. Like, is that something that makes sense for a potential matchup where right now in the play-in games, they would host the Warriors, and if you match up against a Memphis or even an OKC, is that a team that provides a lot of resistance? I don't know. But I think we learn a lot here, not only tonight, but moving forward.
Yeah, numbers on the move, certainly on the total, expecting some points there in L.A. tonight. College hardwood tonight. Michigan's going to be back at it. One of the uglier wins that they're coming off of, but it was a win is a win is a win. After losing to Michigan State last week, they're going to entertain Rutgers tonight. There at the Big House in Michigan. What do you make of Michigan tonight if you want to lay double digits here against Rutgers?
Yeah, and seeing the number go up already to 10.5 on DraftKings. But again, if there was a side, and these are just leans for me, kind of looking at it, the side would definitely be Rutgers for me, and kind of nice that that number's gone up a little bit. You and I looked at an over, for Michigan in their last game, and it just, what did Vaughn Dalzell say? It set Big Ten basketball back by thousands of years. But I think ultimately where we are with Michigan is they know what happened last night. With Sparty getting the win. They want to win that Big Ten regular season title as much as anyone. You're on home court. You should be able to handle business. Right now, just a lean for me. What would be the over? Looks like it's come down a point right now on DraftKings, but it would be Rutgers, and the over is where I would kind of lean for the side and the total.
And again, I've been in that gymnasium. It's not the big house like football, but they should make it a bigger house. It's too small. St. Mary's out west. I think sometimes people forget about what goes on at West Coast Conference basketball. Normally it's about Gonzaga and everybody else. The Zags might not be the same Zags. What about St. Mary's? They're going to be on the road tonight against Loyola and Marymount. They're laying a big number here on the road. Do we trust St. Mary's in the second tournament?
I don't know. And what I do know is that when you have these kind of double-digit favorites, and not necessarily a sleepy spot for Loyola, but if you are going to be a contender, do you handle your business convincingly? Is this, we stomp them out in the first half, do not allow them come up for air? The over would be a lean for me at the moment. No play there, but it would kind of coincide with where the double-digit favorite is in St. Mary's. Are they a team that you take seriously, as you mentioned, if they handle business games like tonight and then even into the end of their conference regular season? Interesting if they get in a part of the bracket that they could create some chaos. But as far as tonight, just would be a lean for me on the over.
GBank is upping the ante up to $750 bonus for new GBank Visa Signature Card customers. For new customers who spend $1,000 in eligible purchases within 90 days from opening up that account, you're going to get $250 right off the bat. In addition, if you spend $50,000 or more on gaming and sports app loads within the first 30 days of opening up that account, you're going to get another $500 bonus. That is potentially $750. Apply now. VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions do apply. Jensen, they're going low at the Cognizant right now. Two guys at 7 under par. Sam Ryder, Jake Knapp. I know that a numbers game. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin will discuss that and more next here on VSiN.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text FRESH to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text FRESH to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text FRESH to 200-300. That's FRESH to 200-300. FRESH to 200-300.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. The conflict in Ukraine is top of the agenda at a meeting between the UK Prime Minister and US President in Washington, DC. The two men have differing views on how to bring the conflict to an end and the role the US should play, with Donald Trump arguing that European nations need to provide greater security guarantees for Kyiv. Ollie Barrett reports from London.
Keir Starmer's in Washington having announced this week a major uplift in UK defence spending. That's been a key ask of the Trump administration. Keir Starmer's been making the case for Ukraine to be put in the best possible position for peace negotiations with Russia. His trip comes ahead of that of Volodymyr Zelensky to sign a minerals deal with the United States, and then Keir Starmer's due to host other European leaders here in London on Sunday to update them on his Ukraine talks with Donald Trump.
The European Union says it's prepared to protect its consumers and businesses should the US follow through with its threat of a 25% duty on EU goods. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Responding to Donald Trump's latest comments, European Commission spokesperson Olaf Gill said the bloc is ready to partner with the US if it plays by the rules, but adds that it's prepared to protect its citizens at every turn. The Commission's previously warned that it would react firmly and immediately against unjustified trade barriers, but hasn't provided further details on what a response might be. President Trump said Wednesday that the EU was created to, quote, screw the US, and has long claimed the trade relationship is unfair.
Nigeria's Food and Drug Law Enforcement Agency is seeking the death penalty for people caught trading counterfeit medicines. Ajek Mangut reports.
The agency, known as NAFDAC, says this has become necessary due to the damage caused by the sale of fake drugs on the health of Nigerians. It urged lawmakers to fast-track an amendment of laws on drugs and health to include life sentence and death penalties for such crimes. Since early February, the agency has been carrying out nationwide raids in an effort to address this challenge. NAFDAC says in its latest operation, it seized large quantities of counterfeit and improperly stored vaccines, prescription medicines, and expired condoms. The seized drugs were valued at over $660 million.
The actor Gene Hackman and his wife have been found dead at their home in New Mexico. Best known for films including The French Connection and Bonnie and Clyde, the two-time Oscar winner was 95. He retired from acting in the early 2000s, making very few public appearances since then. Authorities in Santa Fe say there are no suggestions of any foul play. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Great. The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Thursday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM Channel 158. It's Gil Alexander. It's my little buddy Kelly Bidlin, everybody. Producer number 9, so much more than a producer. How you doing?
Good, man. We're back in black today.
Yeah. We both are doing this button thing. I'm wearing a shirt where the button really doesn't work up top.
Yeah, a lot of chest today, folks.
Ladies, enjoy.
No extra charge for this show either.
No extra charge. It's Thursday. You know what that means. Zach and Crack on the show today. Zach Cohen will join us to talk NBA, maybe some tennis, anything he's betting, maybe some baseball futures. Adam Burke, speaking of baseball, Adam Burke, the author of the VSiN Baseball Betting Guide. Out now? Out now. Ready to go. VSiN managing editor Adam Burke with some of his big season-long plays, including why I am wrong on the Cleveland Guardians under.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, he's going to tell me why I'm wrong. So we're looking forward to that. I think the biggest sports betting thing of the moment is this injury to Abdul Carter that it was revealed. A foot injury. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Kelly. I want you to lean in for this. You kind of need your feet. You can't really avoid them. Thanks very much.
Feet in football?
Yeah. Now, so the odds have shifted on Abdul Carter, of course, the legacy of the number 11 at Penn State. Linebacker Abdul Carter going number 1. He became the dog on this news. And this morning now, Adam Schefter saying, however, he will not need surgery. So a little bit of a tick back So Abdul Carter, who drifted out to about plus 185-ish, now plus 170, currently looking at these numbers, to be picked number one. Currently, the Tennessee Titans sitting in that position. You and I had the same reaction sort of independently this morning, which is before we saw the Schefter tweet anyway, which is, it seems like a pretty big deal they're not making enough of here. And the betting market did suggest that it was a big deal.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a little. Look, a lot of shops yesterday took down odds, which completely I understand that reaction. The ones that left them up though, just the lack of movement on them. It was very small. I was surprising. I don't. There's a lot of questions about this to me because why do you go to the combine if you know you have an injury, right? This is going to pop up. Why don't you get out in front of this? It's very odd. It's very odd. This is what
Here's the Schefter tweet. Doctors told Penn State defensive end, that's what he's calling him. We'll see where he lines up as a pro. And projected number one pick Abdul Carter that after further scans on his right foot, surgery not advisable. Carter will work out at his March 28th pro day at Penn State. By the way, let me just say this. Surgeries on hands and feet, period, are not advisable. You want to do everything you possibly can to avoid those. But his pro day will be March 28th. Schefter goes on to say, and this is a quote from Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, quote, "I couldn't be more confident that this will be a non-factor where he's drafted. He will put on a show at his pro day," unquote. Well, what do you expect Drew Rosenhaus to say? And secondly, that part about the pro day is really the mark that we should think about, right? That's the day that matters, March 28th.
It does. It just feels like there's a lot of this is too much of, hey, let me say something about how this is nothing. Let me say something about how there's nothing going on here.
Would you make a bet? Here's the real question from a betting standpoint.
Yeah.
And this is just how you think this is going to go in terms of his health. So it's a complete speculation on how you think his pro day will go, probably. Will you ever get him at a longer number than this? And if not, do you just make a numbers-based bet here to have it for the April draft?
Yeah, I think for me personally, we're still a little too far out of just even knowing what this number one pick market is. Quarterback or Carter, right? Quarterback or Carter. I just think if you were thinking about making a Carter bet right now, man, I think you gotta wait. I think you gotta wait.
DraftKings has Cam Ward at minus 155, Abdul Carter at plus 185. At FanDuel, it's minus 135 for Ward, Carter plus 170 to go number one. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, third and fourth.
Completely understand what you're saying. There's a chance plus 185 is the longest we ever see on this guy, right? But I'm
just talking about a brain dead bet.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't think you can. I don't think you can right now. This news scares me at least enough that I don't think you could make that bet right now.
The other NFL news, that was the betting news. Can we do a little sports talk radio?
Yeah, real quick. I did see other interesting tweet about Travis Hunter yesterday. It sounds like, because we've been asking this question, wide receiver, cornerback, sounds like almost all the NFL front offices talking at the combine, it's almost all of them are saying wide receiver is what we're looking at him for.
Yeah.
I
think that's the consensus.
Yeah. There's a couple teams.
There was a blip during the season where someone said, "No, I think it'll be cornerback first," but it sounds like it's wide out first. Who knows with all this?
Mm-hmm.
The Sports Talk Radio part of this, the other NFL news yesterday was, because we do guessing lines every Monday, and it's wall-to-wall football, and how much of guessing lines is just us going crazy about officiating.
Oh, yeah.
So the NFL had a slew of announcements yesterday about some of the changes that they're looking at. Onside kicks. They know that they have to make a change there. One of the big things there that we were screaming about was, hey, the touchback needs to be at the 35-yard line to sort of induce more teams to not kick it out of the end zone, and that looks like it could be in the offing at some point. They also talked about replay assist, which I joked about all season long. Like, when did this happen? When were the parameters set? How come nobody told us? Now they're saying that the NFL plans with to have some expansion of replay assist, including more fouls, but that there was no appetite for the committee to use replay to throw a flag. In other words, that would have to have a new rule change proposed for them to be able to throw a flag on replay assist. Remember, replay assist meant you could pick up a flag,
right?
And it applied. This past year, now we're learning the full scope of it, to roughing the passer, contact with head neck, unnecessary roughness, runner out of bounds, intentional grounding and ineligible player downfield. Expansion under consideration would include roughing the passer hit below the knee. That would be brand new. Unnecessary roughness, defenseless receiver player. Face mask, contact of hand with face mask. Tripping, illegal crackback block, and horse collar, among other things. So we'll see. But the biggest thing, and oh, by the way, and overtime rules too. Overtime rules, they're really considering making the regular season just like they have in the postseason now. Postseason overtime rules, as you know, both teams get the ball at least once. A touchdown on the first drive does not end things like it does in the regular season. Those playoff rules were precipitated by the epic Buffalo-Kansas City finish a couple years ago in the playoffs. So now they're considering doing that for the regular season, maybe even going to back to a 15-minute period.
Okay, real quick, what do you think about the overtime one? Or the rule change?
I've never had as much of a problem with the overtime thing as some people have. But I get why people do.
Me either, but I do think they should change it and go to just how they do it in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't, it doesn't make me go nuts about it. I'm cool with it.
The replay assist one, I don't know. It infuriates me even more, Gil, because I think it wasn't the one thing that we were outraged the most about of just when are you using this and when are you not? And that didn't really answer that at all.
Well, this is more of an explanation than we ever got during the regular season.
No, that's true, but it also doesn't tell me, like, well, so what's going on when you guys go on the field and say, with the help of replay assist, we decided this, versus why does it take 6 minutes sometimes and you don't use this at all?
Okay, can I get to the one I really want to talk about? Okay. The NFL, in all its infinite wisdom, has decided that they're going to use Hawkeye technology moving forward. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may know me as a tennis guy, and how about a little history on the use of Hawkeye? Are you interested in that at all?
Let's go.
Hawkeye started with cricket in 2000.
Wow.
In 2004, there was a tennis match at the U.S. Open quarterfinal between Serena Williams and Jennifer Capriati. And Serena had like 3 calls that she got hosed on. And they were trying out some system. Because remember, when we were kids, John McEnroe, right? John McEnroe, Ilie Nastase, Jimmy Connors, if you go back further, they would berate the umpires, right? It would be like full legalized screaming and like verbal violence. You cannot be serious, being the most famous one of all those from McEnroe. So 2004, they have this match. Serena gets hosed 3 times. They know about this technology in cricket. They're sort of testing it out in tennis. And one of the technology they're using at the time shows that one of the calls against Serena was actually wrong. And Capriati goes on, wins the match, and tennis is like, we got to have a system. We got to make this, digitized, electronic. So a year and a half later, starting in Key Biscayne, Florida, because Key Biscayne is awesome, what at the time was the 5th major in tennis, 2006 in March, they used Hawkeye for the first time. It was a replay system. It was a challenge system at first.
Right.
Okay? But it worked so well that same year, 2006, the U.S. Open immediately started using it. 2007, Australian Open started using it. By the way, 2007 I want to say it was Wimbledon, they were using it, and it was the final, Nadal Federer, and Nadal challenged a call that went out. Hawkeye showed that it was in, and Federer, this is how primitive it was. This is 2007. Federer went to the ump and was like, let's not use this system anymore for the rest of the match. And they were like, no, sorry, it's a
like
thing
that
now.
was an option. Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward to the pandemic, right? Because at this point, it's still a replay system. What you know now in tennis is Hawkeye Live, where you see it instantly, right? It's 10 cameras, projected, triangulated. You can see it. It gets relayed quickly. You can tell if the ball's in or out. During the pandemic, because they wanted fewer humans around, the U.S. Open decided, besides in Louis Armstrong and Arthur Ashe, no humans anymore, besides the ump, right? It worked so well. 2021, Australian Open, no humans whatsoever. The first slam with no humans at all besides the ump. 2022, the U.S. Open, no humans even in the stadiums. And this year at Wimbledon, no humans besides the umpire. Only clay, right? Only clay is where they still use line judges because, remember, the ball makes a mark in clay, and then they get to argue over that wasn't the ball mark from that point, right? Which is why you see, players sweeping the clay all the time. Anyway, the point of all that is not to regale you with Hawkeye. It's to say, how long did this take for you, NFL? And the other part of this is, I don't think it's going to work in football because the refs are still spotting the ball. So what does it matter? The ump doesn't come down in tennis and spot where the ball landed and go, Hawkeye, have at it.
And it's only going to be used for first downs.
We need a chip. This doesn't solve anything. Stupid NFL. Coming back, Zach Cohen.
Hey, it's Bill from VSiN. You may know me as the guy who writes the VSiN daily newsletter, but I'm also one of VSiN's owners. If you're a business owner like I am, you need to reach customers ready to spend, right? VSiN talks to millions of engaged sports fans every month, folks with money in their pockets, ready to bet on the next big game. If you want to connect with this audience, email me at bill@vsin.com. Let's talk about how VSiN can help your business, no matter what its size, win big.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust to 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a Check Your Forecast. Have a great day.
Extreme Sports, the ultimate destination for sports enthusiasts.
This is the greatest record in the history of sports.
Broadcasting live 24/7.
Just have some fun out here, and enjoy the journey of all this of trying to get 16 wins and going after a gold trophy.
We give the people what they want.
And I am a huge sports fan. I love sports.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, where we give a riveting dissertation of the history of Hawkeye and why the NFL is so late in this. Let me just clarify also what I said at the end. What Kelly was saying is right. They'll use it for the to determine if it's a first down. But on the previous plays in that sequence, they don't use it. So in the aggregate, what are we doing?
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if it's a second down play, and I went for 5 yards, but they get it wrong by a yard.
Sorry, we're humans. You only went for 4.
I don't. It just amazes me how the NFL comes up with these rules. Then sounds like they always have this cocky tone about it, right? Of like, well, we were doing this in the background last year. You just didn't know about it. So we gathered a bunch of data. Okay, so we know what's going on. And then you're like, well, what about this, and then we never get answers to it or anything.
It is. I will say this: if they can ever perfect it, which they sounds like they're not quite there, but we've only had tennis, just workshopping this for 20 years, 25 years now, almost 20 years to be exact. Does it come up ever today? Like it's a sea change in the sport.
Yeah.
Right? Like from when we were kids. It's a complete sea change. Completely changed things. Why did it take the NFL this long to do anything about it? Because the only time it ever comes up in tennis now, there was a hardcourt tournament earlier this year where like some of the players thought the triangulation itself was a little off. By the way, the margin of error is like 2 millimeters. On the whole thing. But they thought on this one court it was a little off, so I get it. But at the French Open, we will still have, I know you love this, Kelly, we will still have the umpire come off his chair.
Love it. I love
or her chair. She will dramatically walk right up to a spot and she will be like, out. She'll do that. And then the players will lose their minds. Great.
The NFL one that's so crazy is the ability to have this technology. The technology chasm, divide between that and the chain crew is just so massive.
And the chain crew will still be there as a backup.
Which, Gil is probably the funniest part to me. And hey, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but it just feels like we got to protect the chain crew's jobs. We can't be slashing jobs in the NFL.
We'll bring in Zach Cohen for this. You can follow Zach on Betting on X on Twitter. He's our VSiN senior editor, and of course writes about tennis. The NBA most prominently, but all kinds of sports. There have been also tennis matches. I remember when they were workshopping this over the 20 years where the technology would go out in the middle of a match. Someone would get hosed on a call and then the technology would reappear. But that stuff doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
And there's only a rogue player who dares argue with it, like that hamburger, Yelena Ostapenko. But other than that, everyone just takes it face value. Zach, NFL, Hawkeye, what's happening?
I guess I'd accept it. I mean, I'd rather see them try something than, we see these games get decided by really bad calls.
Yeah, well, it's only taking 20 years is my point on that. Do you have any tennis plays today, globally? 5 tournaments.
I do. I have a bunch. I have a few over on the website. One of them is Petra Martic plus 1.5 sets against Emma Navarro in Merida. I just think that Martic has played really, really well over the last couple of weeks. She made a pretty deep run in Linz and has played pretty well at this tournament. 3 matches, 3 straight set wins, including her qualifying matches. And I just have not been impressed with Emma Navarro this season. I thought she was a little shaky at the Australian Open. She won only 2 matches over 3 in the Middle East. I just think this is a really bad time for her.
Add her to the list. By the way, I thought about playing Martic on the money line, and I didn't have the cojones to do it. But there is definitely some data that supports what you're talking about. Add Navarro to the list of just this strange thing that's happened in 2025 where these ladies at the top of the tour have all taken a strange step back. Some a step, some a baby step, some a giant leap back. It's very strange with some of these. Anything else?
I do like Matteo Berrettini against Tsitsipas. I have that at plus 118 because it's the second leg of a parlay, and the first one came in this morning with Luca Nardi winning a set against Quentin Halise. But I do like Berrettini at around minus 150, which I think is what it's at. I just kind of think that in a court like this where it's very fast, I'll take the player with the better serve and the better forehand. These are 2 very similar players in that they both kind of have those 2 shots as weapons and weaknesses on the backhand side. I think Berrettini's a little stronger on the backhand side because he does slice it. And, I thought Berrettini just has looked a lot better since the start of the season. And he did win the last matchup between these 2, which was in Stade last year.
Stade. He just wanted to say Stade. I know what he's up to. I'm with you. It's Berrettini or nothing for me. It would be on that one. Anything else?
I did play Greek Sport plus 1.5 sets against Medvedev. That just started, so maybe wait for a clean opportunity to get in there. But that's just kind of a fade on Medvedev. He's looked a little bit better this tournament, but just been so poor in form over the last 4 or 5 months. Just the serve has kind of gotten away from him. I don't think he looks as strong as defending the baseline. And Greek Sport's a really solid player on these faster courts.
Chris Felica, the Bear from Fox Sports, you may know him. He texted me this morning. He says there might be in the tennis tournament in Merida, on the women's side, there might be a sickness outbreak coming out both sides. He said, so just keep that in mind.
Acapulco, there's something going on in Acapulco too.
Oh, okay, so maybe he meant Acapulco instead of
maybe. Yeah, I think 3 players dropped out. Holger Rune retired in the first set of his match. Yeah, I think there's some type of stomach bug, but they also just might want to be.
They also just might want to get to Indian Wells first. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Yeah. The conditions in Acapulco are grueling.
It's the Indian Wells flu they're getting. They're like, I want to go to paradise, to tennis paradise quickly. Any season-long baseball from you, Zach? Anything?
No, I mean, the only thing I'm really looking at is the over on the Red Sox. I kind of buy into what they've done over the summer. I thought adding Bregman was a really good move, and I thought they made some nice moves, adding to their pitching staff. I think Buehler's going to be really good just the further he gets removed from that injury. So that's the only one I'm really looking at right now. I'm kind of going to look at a deeper dive into baseball this weekend, so I'll be reading up what Adam Burke wrote in the MLB Betting Guide.
Adam Burke about to join us, too. If we're just sort of anecdotally talking about our most common plays, over Reds and over Red Sox seem to be our most common.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Everybody is bullish on the Reds. Nothing can possibly go wrong. So we'll see. Okay, NBA. You got anything tonight?
Yeah, I'm reluctantly playing the Magic plus 5.5 at minus 118. This has been a really rough stretch for Orlando lately, and there's kind of some, unhappiness after the games with Paolo Banchero in the media, and just things look really bad on the outside. But I do think this Magic team all year long has just been kind of trustworthy at home. They're 18-12 in Orlando, have a +2 net rating at home, and I just think this team can still be trusted defensively. They're a top 5 defensive team in the league. The offense is obviously an issue. That's a little bit scary going against a Warriors team that has been very, very good defensively since acquiring Butler. But in a game that I think is going to be very low scoring, I think 5.5 is a lot of points.
Taking the points against the juggernaut that is the 5-1 Jimmy Butler. Is it 5-1 or 6-1 now? I lost track. They're so good.
5-1, I think. They're being priced. They're being priced like the Cleveland Cavaliers, though. I'll tell you that. Cavs were laying the same number the other day until it shot out.
By the way, can I just do what's becoming now like sort of a daily thing to you NBA folks? May I call you guys NBA folks? Everybody and their mother was on OKC yesterday. And then how far did they fall behind Brooklyn? Like they were down double digits at the half. I know they ended up winning by 8. Almost flirted with the number at one point. You were like, are they going to cover this? But I mean, how do you come out that flat after that collapse against the T-Wolves?
Because it's the Nets.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm the biggest defender of the NBA you'll find. I've been finding it very difficult over the last 3 or 4 weeks just with the injury report nonsense we've seen.
Yeah. What about awards? Do you have any bets do you have any in pocket for some of these?
I have a lot of Rookie of the Year futures. I have Stephon Castle 10-1, Alex Sarr 13-1, and I added Zachary Reese-Shea at 16-1. I also have 2 tickets on Kel'el Ware. One of them's pretty bad, plus 135, but the other one I got 12-1, so kind of split between the two at 6.5. But I think that's a really interesting market. I feel really good about where I'm heading with that one. I know that Jalen Wells has kind of picked up some steam there, but I just have a really hard time believing that a role player quite like that will win, especially when he's competing with another role player on his own team in Zach Edey. I think there are some other players I'd be looking at, with Ware being the one that I'm very interested in. I think that he moved to the betting favorite at plus 135 in December, just kind of or maybe it was late January, just had a really hot shooting stretch. Lately, he has cooled off a bit as a scorer, but he's still kind of flirting with a double-double, putting up a block a game for, as a starter for a Heat team that is making a push to be one of those top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference.
All right, should win, will win. MVP. Should win, will win.
I think should win Joker, and I think will win SGA. I'm actually writing something up for the website that will be up this afternoon. I really think that the Joker's case is so strong. I have a hard time believing he should not win, but I know that there's voter fatigue. It's just crazy to deprive him in the best season of his career.
I totally agree. Defensive Player of the Year. Should win, will win.
I think should be Dyson Daniels. I think it will be one of the 2 bigs. I'd probably lean Evan Mobley.
Interesting. Okay. Man, Montesano's head is exploding as he's listening to this. Okay, and then finally, most improved player, should win, will win.
I think will win is Cade Cunningham. Should win with the current rules is Cade Cunningham. I am a firm believer in this award going to a lesser player that becomes a very good player out of nowhere.
Sorry, the correct answer is Norman Powell. Though Norman Powell has to get on the court.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Yes,
4 straight games missed with a knee injury.
Yeah.
I'm going to press back. Zach didn't answer that question. You didn't answer it of who it was going to win. Who should win?
He did. He said,
I did.
He said Cade and Cade.
Yeah.
Oh, Cade and Cade?
Maybe if you listen to the show, Kelly.
I thought you said Cade was going to win.
Oh, no. He said shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hate hitting it on that sour note right there. Sorry about that, Kelly. I didn't mean to make it.
I hope you cash with the Rookie of the Year, Zach. I've got to get home with most improved and clutch. That's for sure.
Can I interest you in an Indian Wells podcast next week, Zach?
Absolutely. I'm always down to do that.
Let's do it. Zach Cohen, everybody. Betting on X, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, guys.
Adam Burke, the author of our MLB betting guide. All his plays, not all of them, but most of them next.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Rob Point.
I'm Mike Will, the Sports Update on Extreme Sports. Nebraska is hiring New England Patriots Director of Pro Personnel Patrick Stewart as the program's new general manager. Stewart will replace Sean Patton, who will move to a new role of Assistant AD for Strategic Intelligence. Stewart has worked in various roles with Ohio State, Western Carolina, and Temple before breaking into the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, Carolina Panthers, and the Patriots. The Nebraska baseball team will play in the Frisco College Baseball Classic this weekend. The Huskers are 3-4 in the season. They'll have games against Sam Houston, LSU, and Kansas State. The softball team will play 5 games in the Wichita State tournament this weekend. The Huskers are 12-4. Nebraska will have 2 games against Missouri and single games against San Diego State, Oklahoma State, and Wichita State. Hastings College women's basketball team went on a 13-0 fourth quarter run last night to beat Northwestern 81-70 in the quarterfinals of the GPAC postseason tournament. The run was ignited by 3 3-pointers by junior Macy Bryant, who finished with 12 points. Bailey Kissinger led the way with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Broncos have now won 10 games in a row to improve to 23-6 on the season. They'll play at number 1 ranked Dordt on Saturday in the semifinals. Tip-off will be at 2. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning at 1:45. The Defenders beat Concordia last night 80-66. In the other games, Briar Cliff defeated Morningside 89-52, and Dakota Wesleyan got by Doane 79-71. On the men's side, Dordt defeated Mount Marty 76-59. Morningside beat Dakota Wesleyan 81-74. Northwestern ran past Briar Cliff 83-65, and Concordia outscored Midland 101-81. Hastings College baseball team lost to Bellevue 6-2 yesterday. The Broncos are now 1-8 on the season and will play a 4-game series against Mayville State this weekend out at Duncan Field. Hastings College softball team swept a doubleheader from Bethel yesterday, 14-4 and 11-3. The Broncos are now 6-3 on the season and will play in the Friends Tournament coming up this weekend. Cohen Mannert of Hastings College has been named to the GPAC Wrestling All-Conference First Team. Mannert was also named the Freshman of the Year. Justin Rodriguez was named to the second team. The Nebraska Kearney men's basketball team lost to Fort Hays State 79-57 last night in Hays. The women lost to Fort Hays State 92-56. Fort Hays State will play at Kearney on Saturday. And that is sports.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Don't take a swing in the dark. Step up to the plate. See what I did there? Prepared with VSiN's MLB Betting Guide. Get expert tips on how to bet baseball, including a stats glossary to help you break down key analytics, dive into awards market analysis for MVP and Cy Young, and gain a player's perspective on evaluating pitchers from former MLB pitcher Jensen Lewis. Also the co-host of By the Books, of course, here at VSiN. From advanced metrics to sharp betting angles, the VSiN MLB Betting Guide is your ultimate playbook for the season. Avoid strikeouts at the sportsbook. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today for as low as $9.99 and get your copy of the MLB Betting Guide today. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. And it gets my full endorsement because besides that Jensen Lewis piece, the solo author of this is the guy who I mentioned it as recently as yesterday, but I've said it through the years, does the greatest baseball analysis, season longs, and also during the season. But really, I came to know him from season longs back in the day at Bang the Books, which is where he used to work before VSiN. It's the great Adam Burke, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow him on Twitter at Skating Tripods. He, of course, part of the glue that holds this whole operation together. Adam, I speak on behalf of Kelly as well. What a great job you did on this guide. Once again, sir, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not really in the market for an agent, I don't think, but if I ever need one, it's going to be you.
I'm your guy.
I appreciate all the kind words about it. Thank you so much.
Well, let's get this one out of the way. Let's start on the reason. So usually what happens here on the show, for like 6.5 years, I booked all the guests. And then Kelly Bidlin shows up and he's like, do you want me to book all the guests? I'm like, sure, please. Can you please? And then rarely do we ever have anybody who says, I'm coming on. And we're like, oh, okay.
And sometimes it's still a joint effort. Like, there are guys Gil will talk to, right? So it's not a surprise if I hear from Gil, like, hey, this guy's going to come on the show this day, because I know Gil talked to him.
But the other day, I said, that's right. But the other day, I was like, hey, I like the Guardians under. And Adam Burke is a lifelong Cleveland Indians / Guardians fan, and he did not take to this kindly. He says, I'm coming on the show to refute the point. Why do you like the Guardians this year, sir?
All right. Well, I will preface it by saying that I agree with your thought process. I agree with everything that you said, right? The Guardians were a team from a sequencing standpoint that we can call it luck. I think a lot of it was just their bullpen was dominant. And so it was really, really good because if you look at the splits between the starters and the relievers, the guys stranding all the runners were the relievers. So from a sequencing standpoint, yeah, you could argue that the Guardians got a little bit fortunate. And I do think that there's probably a little bit of regression in this team. That being said, a win total of 82.5 is way too big of an adjustment for this team, in my estimation. Look, remember last year they got 57 starts from Carlos Carrasco, Logan Allen, and Tristan McKenzie. McKenzie was useless. Carrasco was no good. Allen wasn't any good either. I don't know what they're going to get out of Gavin Williams. I don't know what they're going to get out of Ben Lively, but I think they're going to get better performances out of those two guys than what they got from the bulk of the bottom of their rotation last year. And Luis Ortiz is a guy, even though he struggled in his first spring training start, that they isolated, right? This is a pitching factory. They know what to look for. They know what they want. They've brought a ton of guys up to the big leagues and turned them into good pitchers. With Luis Ortiz, Slade Ciccone, these are two guys that I think they're going to have really good success with throughout the course of the season. Now, I agree with you on Andres Jimenez and the loss of his defensive prowess. It's a big deal. However, I think Juan Brito can be a better offensive player, and Juan Brito is just holding that seat warm for Travis Bazzana anyway, who's probably going to be up with the ball club sometime in June or July, their number one overall pick from a couple of years ago. And then the other thing is, yeah, they lost Josh Naylor, right? But Kyle Manzardo, I think, is a better all-around hitter than Josh Naylor. He'll be probably in a DH platoon with John Kenzie Noel. Carlos Santana's an upgrade at first. I think there's a lot of things to really like about the personnel of this Cleveland team. And I will say, we know that bullpen attrition is a real thing, right? This is the bullpen that had the fourth best ERA dating back to 1995. They were top 15 in F4. They were an elite group. Yes, they could slip back a little bit with the long season that they had and all the workload, but they have so many arms back there, just a tremendous depth of arms that I think they'll be able to overcome it. And then finally, the last thing with this team, Stephen Vogt empowered every single player on that roster. And this is something I talked to Jensen Lewis about when he was in town a couple of weeks ago. The way that Voter was able to get everything possible out of pinch hitters, out of pitchers he put in leverage situations, all this different type of thing, that elevates a ball club. And one more thing, I think it's the Royals that take a big step back. I think this division is between the Tigers and the Guardians. Give me Cleveland over 82.5.
Yeah, I thought about a Royals over. I just couldn't get there. I'm with you with the Royals. Let's see if we can come to common ground, and then we'll move on from the Guardians. Do you agree with me that much of this will be determined by the first couple months? That, in other words, before the Biebers and the Frys of the world return, that the Guardians really need to tread water. They need to have Bibee be an ace. They need to have Lively not regress, right? They've got to have things, every baseball team, there's a spectrum, right? It all goes your way, it all goes against you, and then everything in between. They really need to stay afloat the first 2 months, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I mean, what really kickstarted last season for them, and I know you mentioned this, they came out of the gate remarkably hot. And then in the second half, they played a few games better than 500. I think they were 39-34 in the second half. something like that. So yeah, it's going to be about how this team starts. But I will say this, I think something that's a bit of a benefit for Cleveland in the early part of the season is you don't have this expectation of your starters working deep into games anyway, right? They're building their arms up. They're going to go 4 or 5 innings for their first couple times out of the gate, things like that. Yeah, it puts a little bit of a strain on the bullpen, but that's why they brought in a guy like Jake Junis, who can be a multi-inning dude with a great slider. They could probably upgrade his fastball a little bit. Like, they're going to get through the early part of the season relying on that bullpen because the starters just aren't going to be expected to work deep into games anyway. But yeah, to your point, I mean, Bieber comes back midseason. David Fry comes back. Chase DeLauder is going to be up playing right field at some point. Like, one of the things I think people don't think about as we go through these season win total markets is how a team will evolve throughout the course of the season, right? Like, I had this problem with the Red Sox trying to figure out where are they going to put Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell as the season goes along? These guys that are going to come up from the minor leagues and be potential impact players. I don't know where they're going to put them, but in Cleveland's case, they already have vacancies they can put those guys into essentially. So to me, it's one of those things where you've got to think about the full 162 with these win total and futures markets. And some of these teams are going to get better. Some of these teams are going to get worse based on their contract situations and the kids coming up from the minor leagues.
Yeah, I think it's a fair disagreement. I think I think we can reach across the aisle, Adam, if you are and agree that some of the things that you think are sustainable, I deem more unsustainable, but only time will tell.
I think it's going to be a pretty tight race between 4
You want to
teams.
do 82.5, a dinner bet?
Let's do it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Right.
Dinner bet. Who decides where?
Winner decides, right?
Okay. All right. Winner decides. That makes sense.
All right. I'll let you know.
This is okay. This is a hard question to ask because you have so many opinions. But is there a favorite or a favorite-ish bet among all of them?
Yeah, so I mentioned it already. I like the Royals under. I think this Royals team, look, Bobby Witt Jr. is an elite level player. He carried that offense last season. So Fangraphs has a stat that's basically batting and base running runs. And Kansas City was minus 21.2 batting and base running runs last season. Bobby Witt was plus 59.3 on his own. That's how bad the rest of this offense was. And this was with an outlier season from Salvador Perez, who cut his strikeout rate down, increased his walk rate, a guy who's really never been patient at the plate. He's a very free swinger type of dude. This offense is bad. And I think maybe Jonathan India helps a little bit just because he's a pretty consistent offensive player. Maybe Vinny Pasquantino has that breakout season, but this offense is terrible outside of Bobby Witt. And Witt is a guy who had enormous home road splits last year, 466 weighted on base average, 202 WRC plus at home, 356 weighted on base average on the road, 134 WRC plus. So he was 102% better than league average at home last season. So like, it's just not something that I find sustainable, as good of a player as he is. But for me, it's really the pitching side. So maybe Cole Reagan stays together, right? And I hope for the sake of baseball, for the sake of this division race, he does. The two guys that I'm looking to fade in this rotation are Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo. Lugo, big innings increase. Wacha, a guy who's always in the trainer's room for something or other. They got a lot of production out of those two guys. 373 in a third innings. 8 wins combined above replacement player for just $31 million. It was an incredible return on investment for John Sherman and that Royals team. I don't see it happening again. You don't see career years out of pitchers in their mid-30s. And if you do, they end up regressing. And I think this Kansas City team is going to regress in a pretty big way. I don't love the bullpen, even though they've got Urseg for the full season. They bring in Carlos Estevez as well. I think he's solid. But other than that, I don't think they have bullpen depth. I don't think they have great starting pitching depth. The lineup, as I mentioned, is not deep, as I talked about already. I think this is the team in the Central that falls back, and I like them under 83.5. It's probably my favorite season win total bet of them all.
I agree with almost every word of that. I had a Lugo ticket for Cy Young, and I still agree with the Lugo part. I just want to say this before we get to the second segment with Adam, and we'll get more bets from him, maybe on an individual side. But this is such a great sort of advertisement for these monthly wins bets that we made every month last year. I had Cleveland the first couple months famously. You get to know a team because you end up watching them in these short segments so intimately, and you get to know their strengths, their weaknesses. I had the Royals a little later on, I think in August. that outfield is still suspect. I just don't see it with the Royals. I'm with you. Adam Burke, more baseball. It's a numbers game at VEASAN, the Sports Betting Network.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Money Moves.
I can't feel...
Plenty of sunshine, warm and breezy on this Thursday, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today, we'll see a high of 63 degrees, west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 20. But the winds really crank up on Friday after an overnight low of 35 degrees with clear skies. Plenty of sunshine Friday, a high of 64, but the winds will crank up and gust at 35 miles per hour. For the weekend, slightly cooler. We'll dip back into the low to mid-50s with plenty of sunshine. That's a check your forecast. Have a great day.
Is your office technology holding your business back? At Hamilton, we're more than just an IT provider. We're your partner, focused on building integrated technology solutions tailored to your business needs, both today and for the future. We know that every business is unique, and that's why we provide the services and support you need and nothing you don't. We believe that together, you can continue to serve and support your customers while knowing that your technology is taken care of. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
When it comes to helping you protect what's important to you, you can trust the licensed independent insurance agents at Klein Insurance of Hastings. No matter what type of insurance you need, from auto to home to farm and crop, Klein Insurance will get it covered. They'll help you find the right policy for your specific situation. Klein Insurance has been in business since 1959 and is locally owned. Same-day quotes are available. At Klein Insurance, you'll get years of expertise, attention to detail, and exceptional customer service. Klein Insurance, 710 South Burlington in Hastings. Call 402-463-1256.
This is Brad Musburger from VSiN. You're listening to Extreme Sports.
Bored of the same old sports coverage? Get on the cutting edge of sports with Extreme Sports.
That ball hammers deep toward left into the well. That ball is gone!
The biggest plays, breaking news, and we can't forget the best sports talk.
Let's be great! Let's be great!
We are Extreme Sports.
If you're planning to build a new home or add an addition to your existing one, trust the experts at Gangwish Construction. From general contracting, basement pouring, to bathroom remodeling, concrete work, and deck building, they handle it all with precision and care. They take pride in doing the job right the first time, every time. Contact Jeff today at 402-460-0013 and experience quality craftsmanship with Gangwish Construction.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards. 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code ANG.
ANG is an A numbers game.
Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That's edgeboost.bet. Cognizant Classic. Your guy Daniel Berger is a stroke back.
Yeah, one shot back. Just
was that Knapp is in first? Was it first?
Jake Knapp will go away. They cut to him.
Go away.
I might have distracted Adam Burke during the last second. Sorry, I did a little bit of a fist pump because Berger sunk a long birdie putt to tie the lead, and then it was cut right away to Jake Knapp doing the same thing.
Helps to play that course 10,000 times, as you said.
It really does. It is Knapp at 9 under, Berger 8 under, Sam Ryder and Russell Henley 7 under. They are tearing up the champion course right now at PGA National, which is not a course that usually gets this many low scores.
We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback from everybody. This is from Prime Time. Cowboys_Cubs1. Yo, dude. Hope your boy Blaze, Kelly Bidlin, enjoyed that hit on joint last night as much as I did. Hopefully, Henley or Knapp can get on a funny heater and bring the smoke today at the Honda. Let's go. Light it up. He's talking about Maya Joint, who won easily for us yesterday in tennis. I want to say I think it was 6-love, 6-1, or 6-1, 6-2, something like that.
Nice. I do have a Michael Kim and Luke Clanton first-round leader bet, so I will be sweating those here.
Kelly's like, forget your Maya Joint. Here's what I have coming up today. Paul, by the way, we do have a tennis play coming up later. By the way, the line went against us tennis play.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you get a better number than I will coming up here on the show. Paul Zhang, Zach and Crack are back, Jack. Yep, coming up. The crack part anyway. Jason H11. You guys trying out for Thunder Down Under after the show? That's a lot of chess you two got going on today.
I'm just glad we did it on the same day.
Yeah, man. We didn't even plan it. Brian Schaefer, man, Gil, this whole time I was not hearing you right. It's Bill Krackomberger. I thought it was Krakenberger. Yeah, well, when you say it fast. Trip Tepper, is the usage of Hawkeye in football comparable to tennis? A tennis ball hits the court on every line call and has a binary result, in or out. How can Hawkeye spot a football that isn't momentarily static like a tennis ball hitting a court? Trip, exactly right. I don't know how they're going to do it. Rich PSM, Gil, the chip will accurately place the ball for first down location, but the refs still have to place it. And how the hell does that girl running in from the top of your TV know where the running back ended accurately? Couple things. First part, it's exactly what I said about the refs still having to place it. The second part, why's it got to be the girl running in from the top of the screen? Why can't it be one of the guy refs? Officials. Andy V. Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, who's going to be in this year's NFL draft. He referenced John Riggins as his favorite player. That's why he wears 44. He's my new favorite player. Thank you, Andy B. Johnny Ringo, excellent choice for an agent for Adam Burke. The vacation time negotiated will be copious. And then Mark Goldberg tweets in, can you please make mention to Adam that he already has an agent? It's me, unless he fired me, and I was unaware, and I have to take him out of the inheritance. Great work with the baseball guide once again. I wonder if Adam's aware that he's in an inheritance there. James Sott, I'm not happy I'm missing this, but we'll replay when I get home. Adam Burke, tell Gil the Guards are winning more than 82. Cheap prop bets, making dinner bets on the Guardians and avoiding the VIG, as only true bettors would do. Yeah, we'll get more of your tweets later. Adam Burke, kind enough to join us for a second segment at Skating Tripods, once again, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line, and the author of our MLB betting guide, our MLB baseball betting guide. Let's show that on screen. The Boys of Summer, tips and strategies on betting baseball. Available now at vsin.com. Check it out. Adam, a team that very few people are talking about and you have a very strong opinion on is?
Yeah, I just want to be clear real quick about the MLB betting guide that all 30 team previews are up exclusively at vsin.com. We didn't put them in the guide because we didn't want to make the guide, 100 plus pages. But you can check out all the team previews over at vsin.com, and there are clickable links in this year's baseball betting guide to go and get redirected to the website. So I just wanted to point that out there for everybody. The guide's got some of my future stuff, awards market stuff, things of that sort, which we may get to in a second. But yeah, a team that people aren't talking about, although you told me that Paul Sporer is talking about him, and I definitely like being on the same side as somebody who I respect as much as Paul Sporer, and that's the Washington Nationals. I mean, I think this offense has a chance to be pretty good. They brought in a real professional hitter in Nathaniel Lau. They brought in Josh Bell. I like both of those guys there. CJ Abrams had a bit of a breakout year last year. Dylan Cruz, their top prospect. He's going to be in the lineup likely from day one. Luis Garcia Jr. is a guy who took a big leap last year. I think this offense is going to be pretty decent. And the pitching staff, addition by subtraction, getting rid of Patrick Corbin. I mean, Corbin, I give him a ton of credit for eating a bunch of innings last year, but he was objectively terrible. And now they bring in guys with some upside, right? They've got Mackenzie Gore. DJ Hurst is a guy who can miss bats. Mitchell Parker's been kind of a league average type of starter. They'll get Trevor Williams back. We'll see what he's capable of, but he was throwing the ball real well before he got hurt. The one thing I have a concern with Washington, and this is a really important thing when you talk about season win total markets and betting overs, you want to back bullpens that are going to win the games they're supposed to win.